Part 59. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 581. Today, Sunday, Zhang Chen went to the factory first. A batch of cotton-padded clothes would be delivered to the sand-washing factory early this morning. Zhang Chen went over to take a look. By the time he returned to the stall, it was almost 7 o'clock. He saw that Xiaoan had arrived and was doing business with Xiao Li. Zhang Chen walked in and said with a smile, "Haha, it's lively today." Xiaoan rolled her eyes at him, "You must feel very happy. Among the thousands of flowers, you are the only one who is green." Not only Zhang Chen, but also the customers who received the goods looked at Zhang Chen and laughed. They were both women. Among the 4 women in the stall, only Zhang Chen was a man. Zhang Chen simply withdrew and followed Xiaoan and Xiao Li to deal with the 2 customers. He walked to a Yang's stall. When he turned around, he saw Feng Zhen's face was ugly. Her face had always been ugly, but it seems particularly ugly today. Zhang Chen walked to Yang's stall, and Yang couldn't help laughing when he saw him. "What are you laughing at? Did you find your wallet?" Zhang Chen asked. Yang pursed his lips towards his booth and asked in a low voice, "Where do you, little sisters, come from?" Zhang Chen knew that he was asking Xiaoan, so he said, "Friend, what's wrong? Look at the color of the coat. I don't always have quarrels in the morning. It's so scary. It's very powerful. I have quarrels so early in the morning I'm scared to death." Yang said, shaking his head towards Feng Zhen. Zhang Chen understood that it was Xiaoan and Feng Zhen who had a fight. No wonder Feng Zhen looked so ugly. Zhang Chen quickly asked, "What's going on?" Yang briefly told him what had happened. It turned out that Xiaoan had arrived early and was waiting for Xiao Li at the door. After Xiao Li arrived, the 2 of them opened the door and moved the models, and Xiao Li opened the light boxes. As soon as Xiao Li opened the light box, Feng Zhen started scolding her. She probably looked at the 2 little girls opposite and thought they were salesmen. Xiao Li was from out of town, and she thought Xiaoan was also from out of town. She cursed in Hangzhou dialect, which was very unpleasant. Unexpectedly, just after she cursed a few words, Xiaoan jumped up, rushed to her stall, pointed at her nose and screamed, "If you have the ability to say one more word, will you get slapped? If you keep nagging, believe it or not, I will tear your mouth apart. Come on, if you want to make a fuss, just make a fuss and have fun. Sijiking or Woolen Square, you choose the place." If Yang and the people at the stall next to him hadn't come to stop her, Feng Zhen might have really been slapped. When Feng Zhen arrived, she didn't expect that Xiaoan was also a native of Hangzhou, and she didn't expect that he was also a vicious man. At that time, she withered and didn't dare to say a word. After Yang finished speaking, he laughed, and Zhang Chen also laughed. He shook his head and thought, "This Xiaoan is also gentle and soft-spoken when he is with Chu Tianlin, and he looks very well behaved. He is pretty good when he is close to Zhu." When she arrived at the market, she looked completely different. It seemed that her ability to adapt to the environment was really fast. I didn't know which one was the real her. After the 2 customers left, Zhang Chen saw He Hongmei walking into their stall carrying a black bag. He saw Zhang Chen sitting next to Yang and waved to him. Zhang Chen walked over. Here, the old market has reproduced its imitation. It was just launched today. The package price and wholesale price are both 5 yuan cheaper than yours. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What fabric was used this time?" He Hongmei kicked the black bag on the ground and said to Zhang Chen, "See for yourself." Zhang Chen squatted down, opened the black bag, and felt his head buzzing. He saw the 5-piece suit of clothes in the black bag. The style was exactly the same as theirs, and it also used the same wick strip. If it weren't for the different trademarks, at first glance, Zhang Chen really thought it was his own. Xiao Li saw it from the side and shouted, "No wonder, This morning, there were several customers who asked about the price and then left. So far today, I have only done the 2 businesses just now, and they are still the same client. Zhang Chen saw a sales bill inside, picked it up, and walked out without saying a word. He looked for the stall number according to the sales list, and saw many people in that stall from a distance. Zhang Chen exclaimed in his heart, "It's over," he told himself. I walked to the door of the stall and looked inside. There were many people in the stall getting goods. It seemed that a lot of them had been sold out and they were almost gone. What appeared on the wall were the same 5 sets of clothes as them. Zhang Chen, I saw the excited boss lady's face glowing red, with beads of sweat on her forehead. Zhang Chen was shocked and felt that he had seen this person somewhere. The landlady turned around and saw Zhang Chen standing in the passage outside. She was stunned for a moment, and immediately turned her head. At this moment, Zhang Chen remembered, wasn't this landlady just going there for 10 days and a half? Is this the daughter of an old lady from Wenzhou who went to the market? It turned out that the old Wenzhou lady, who seemed to be oblivious to what was going on outside the window, had actually been observing them from the side. She must have revealed the situation of their stall to her daughter. Zhang Chen turned around and walked outside, his mind in a mess. When he reached the door of his market, he stopped, took out a cigarette and smoked it, trying his best to calm down. Now that something had happened, he felt that what he needed to do now was how to face it. He couldn't rush into their stall and make a fuss. There are a lot of imitations in the market. Being imitated can only mean you are unlucky. What can you do? Your clothes don't have a patent. You don't even have one. There is a way to prove that these are what you designed. Only you and their old customers know about this. What's the use of knowing it? This is why Zhang Chen stood outside the stall to look at it, but walked away without saying anything. He thought of the old lady from Wenzhou who would tell her daughter that the business at their stall was booming. Didn't they know about the stall in the old market? That's why they copied it, but the fabric they chose was wrong. It seemed like their stall had already been sold. I was targeted by many people in the old market. Yes, fabric is the key. Zhang Chen walked to the parking lot, opened his bicycle and rode out. Wang Haniao opened the tea can and poured tea leaves into his large enamel teapot. He looked at it and felt it was not enough, so he poured some more. When he picked up the thermos and filled the teapot, he saw Zhang Chen leaving. "Come in." Wang Haniao smiled and said, "Hey, big boss, what kind of wind brings you here?" Zhang Chen looked at him with a livid face and said nothing. Wang Haniao's heart skipped a beat, and he continued to smile. "Okay, let's make a cup of tea first." He took a cup, swamped it with boiling water, poured it on the ground, picked up the tea can, opened it, poured some tea leaves into the cup, and made Zhang Chen a cup of tea. Zhang Chen had already sat down at the table. Wang Haniao pushed the tea over and told him, try it, this tea is good." "Did you get their fabrics from here?" Zhang Chen asked straight to the point. "What fabric, which them?" "That Wenzhou guy from the old market. Did you get their wick strip fabric from here?" Zhang Chen looked at Wang Haniao and asked again. Wang Haniao panicked for a moment, and immediately said, "Crazy Kafengba, look at the wick strips in my stall. If you tell me about the hairy ones, I will take them to the warehouse." After just a moment of panic, Zhang Chen already knew in his heart that his guess was correct. The fabric in that stall was obtained from Wang Haniao. Zhang Chen felt cool, but he still tried his best to control himself. He said to Wang Haniao in as calm a voice as possible, "Tell the truth. If you still think that I am your friend, then tell me the truth. The fabric is yours. Whoever you sell the fabric to is your freedom. I don't blame you, and I have no right to blame you. But I just want you to tell me honestly, what is going on." "No, I sell the fabrics here to you. No one else has sold them. There are so many weaving factories, who knows where they get the goods from? Wang Haniao defended. What stall are you talking about? I don't know him at all. It's impossible. This batch of goods is a foreign trade order. For some reason, it didn't go out. You ate them all. How could other factories have it? If it's just ordinary fabrics, I believe you when you say this. Wick strips, it's so special that other factories can't have it. When Zhang Chen said this, he felt confident in his heart. He had not seen this kind of fabric in the factory in Jiangjian he had visited. Especially for Xiao Li and his colleagues in Zhangjiagang, they had such a large-scale factory and hundreds of kinds of linen materials in the warehouse, but he didn't see any wick strips. If this fabric was a popular commodity, it would be impossible for them to have it. Wang Haniao wanted to say something, but felt that he couldn't find a good way to say it. He could only drink the tea in sips. The tea was very hot, as if the mucous membrane in his mouth was boiling, but he still didn't. Feeling it, continued to drink sip after sip. Zhang Chen sighed and said, I don't mean to blame you. I said, I just want to find out what is going on. Since I am here today, I will not leave until I find out. Wang Hai was silent, and both of them were silent. After a while, he still picked up the big teapot and drank one mouthful at a time. When he picked up the cup again, his hands were trembling slightly. Zhang Chen sighed again. He said, okay, let's do one thing. Count how many goods I bought from you. If you don't have this number, I have it here. I can tell you. Yes, you first told me how many bamboo hemp and wick strips you have here. I also wrote down this number. Since you said you have never sold goods to them, let's go to your warehouse now to see how much of these fabrics are left. If the numbers match, it can prove that you have indeed never sold them. For such a small matter, I will let you. Is it too much for you to help me? What Zhang Chen said was actually bluffing him. Wang Haniao did tell himself at that time how much the two fabrics cost in total. He remembered that it was more than 90,000 meters, but he didn't remember the specific length of each type. At that time, I felt that more than 90,000 meters was an astronomical figure. How could I use so much? I didn't care at all. As for the fabrics sent by Wang Haniao, he sent them too many times every 4 or 5 kilometers. He actually didn't know how much they were. He only remembered that more than half of the fabrics had been used. After this autumn, he was sure to use them all, but he would not know exactly how much he had used until he went to Xiao Zhao's place and checked how much he had paid for the fabric. Hearing what Zhang Chen said, Wang Haniao knew in his heart that today's matter could not be avoided without telling the truth. He still wanted to continue doing Zhang Chen's business and even make this friend. He had already determined in his heart that this boy's business will definitely grow bigger and bigger. Only by relying on this big tree can I enjoy the shade. At the same time, he was very grateful to Zhang Chen for helping him solve his major problem at once. If Zhang Chen hadn't discovered these rubbish and turned waste into treasure, how could his life have been so easy? Alas, my only fault was that I couldn't withstand the temptation that day. Wang Haniao put down the cup and finally made up his mind. He said to Zhang Chen, "Oh, it's my fault that I sold it to them because I was confused and hot-headed." Zhang Chen nodded and asked, "How much did you sell?" 15,000 meters. Zhang Chen quickly calculated in his mind that he could make about 11,000 sets of clothes. When was it sold? More than a week. Let me think about it. 9 days, 9 days ago. The cloth bought 9 days ago was shipped for the first time today. Zhang Chen knew clearly that the processing factory found by the other party was not very large. They were waiting for the styles and sizes to be available, so they needed these days. How much does it cost to sell a meter? 10, 14 yuan. So high, really? Real. Then you're not humming rich. Zhang Chen laughed. Seeing Zhang Chen smiling, Wang Haniao also laughed. Thank you Li Rujin for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 582. Wang Haniao told Zhang Chen everything. After listening to it, Zhang Chen went over the matter. After putting it all together, he felt secretly frightened. If Wang Haniao hadn't told him, he really wouldn't have known that the other party had carefully planned it. So, Zhang Chen felt like he was being shot coldly, and even more so, he felt like he was unprepared. It turned out that not only the Wenzhou old lady had been monitoring them, but the Wenzhou old lady's daughter had been eyeing them for a long time. She also knew that another shop in the old market copied Zhang Chen's style, but the business was in a mess, so she went to see it. I immediately knew that it was not the style, but the fabric. She knew that these styles were designed by Zhang Chen, but she didn't know that the factory was also their own. What she was thinking in her mind was that as long as she found this factory, she would have to pay a few more yuan in processing fees. She was not afraid that the factory would not tell the truth. Here, it is easy to know where the fabric comes from. She can even ask the factory to stop Zhang Chen and the others and make it for herself. In this way, even the version is ready-made. Nothing else. Her confidence outweighs her strength. How could Zhang Chen be no match for her? Is it not easy to pry off one of his factories? She used the stupidest and most effective method and immediately found the factory in Sanbao. She sent her husband to Zhang Chen's market to guard it. After Lao Wan finished delivering the goods and returned, he followed behind Lao Wan. We followed him all the way to the factory. Later, Zhao Zhigang also remembered it. He said that there was such a person. He came in that day and said that he was looking for a processing factory to process clothes. He asked Zhao Zhigang if he could take it. Zhao Zhigang told him that we do not accept external orders. Our boss has it himself. We only cook the stall for ourselves. The man left after hearing what Zhao Zhigang said. After they knew that the factory belonged to Zhang Chen and the others, they understood that the factory could not be pried, so they had to do the next best thing and find the fabric. The daughter pretended to be a nearby villager. Anyway, as long as she didn't speak, no one would. You will know that when Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were not in the factory, she pretended to be nearby villagers and went to their factory to watch the fun. There are indeed many villagers who come to their factory when they have nothing to do, or when they are tired from working in the surrounding vegetable fields. Whether it is Zhao Zhigang or the people who cut houses, no one will pay attention to this. Her daughter stole the code label from the fabrics piled in the cutting room. After asking someone to translate it into English, they found out that it was produced by a factory in Changshu. They rushed there, only to find that the factory had closed down. They found a nearby weaving factory. After looking at the sample clothes they brought, the other party told them that it could be produced, but the fabric did not use conventional yarn and needed to be customized. It would take about a month from yarn to fabric. Time: 1 month. What's the use? By the time the fabric comes out, autumn will be over. They thought that since the factories that produced fabrics had closed down, it was impossible for Zhang Chen to buy fabrics from factories. When they returned to Hangzhou, they still used the stupidest and most effective method. They guarded outside Zhang Chen's factory every day for 3 days, and finally waited until Wang Haniao delivered the fabric. When Wang Haniao left, they caught up with Wang Haniao, told him that they wanted to buy this fabric, and asked Wang Haniao how much it cost per meter. In fact, Wang Haniao didn't want to do their business, so they casually said 15 yuan. 1 meter of money. Unexpectedly, they only paid back 14 yuan, and said that they would go 15,000 meters at a time. They probably want to seize this opportunity to make more than 10,000 pieces of clothing in one order, and take advantage of their own stalls to make the last profit while the autumn clothes are still available for sale in 10 days. Wang Haniao hesitated for a moment. The profit was too great. In the end, he couldn't hold back and sold it to them. That's the thing. After talking about it, The two of them felt calm. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Then you will get paid with this sum." Wang Haniao chuckled. He said that I ordered an Ivco, which will make it easier to find fabrics in the future. If you want to use the car in the future, I will be in Hangzhou and I will be on call. By the way, boss, you won't be discordant. Am I doing business? What do you think? Zhang Chen asked. Wang Haniao smiled and said, "You can't. You are not a stingy person." "Nonsense, I'm stingy. If it happens again, I will not only stop dealing with you, but I will also chop off your head," Zhang Chen said angrily. "There won't be a next time. As your boss, I have to curry favor with you. They are just a handful of business. It's good to know. By the way, boss, whatever you need next, I promise to help you find it. I need stretch cotton, lots of stretch cotton." "Okay, take it with me. By the way, how many wick strips are there in your warehouse?" Zhang Chen asked. "More than 7,000 meters. Send it to me in the afternoon." "By the way, does this cost 4 yuan or 14 yuan? Zhang Chen joked. Wang Haniao glared at him and asked, "What do you think?" Zhang Chen laughed loudly. Zhang Chen stood up and was about to leave. Wang Haniao left him to eat. Zhang Chen said, "I won't eat from traders. Look, the boss is still stingy." Zhang Chen said, "I really have something to do. You brought such a big mess to me, and you don't wipe your ass." "Why don't I wipe my own ass?" "Okay, hurry up and get out of here. Let's have some wine together when your butt is clean." Zhang Chen really had something to do. When he heard Wang Haniao talk about it, he had already thought about it clearly and knew what he should do. While riding on the road, he thought about the whole plan again. "Yes, just do it." Zhang Chen returned to the stall and saw Xiao Zhao arriving. 4 women were sitting there with sad faces. When Hung Mei saw him coming in, she shouted, "Why have you been here for so long? There was a fight." Zhang Chen smiled, "How could I be so boring?" When Xiao Zhao saw Zhang Chen smiling, she almost cried. She said, "You can still laugh, but you have no business at all." Zhang Chen looked at her and nodded. He said, "I know. Please prepare some money. Wang Haniao will deliver more than 7,000 meters of fabric this afternoon." Zhang Chen didn't tell Xiao Zhao that Wang Haniao got the fabric from that store. He thought if he did, Xiao Zhao would be furious and ignore that person again. "Are you crazy? Are you still buying fabrics?" Xiao Zhao shouted. "Yes, we still need to make more progress," Zhang Chen said. "I calculated that these more than 7,000 meters, plus the fabrics, finished and semi-finished products in stock in the factory, can probably make more than 9,000 sets." Xiao Zhao was anxious. "There are so many, how can we sell them now?" "Sell against them, start a price war, and kill them all at once." Zhang Chen had already calculated on the road that a set of clothes would be more than 10 yuan more expensive than him in terms of fabric. When he calculated the wages, he calculated them directly to the workers. The other party was not his own factory, and the factory must be profitable. This profit should be about 7 or 8 yuan, which means that the other party's cost should be about 20 yuan higher than your own. The most important thing is that his fabrics have already arrived, and all orders have been sent to the processing factory. He can no longer adjust this cost. If he reduces it further, it will only reduce the profit of the processing factory, and the processing factory will definitely not do it. No matter whether you sell it or not, it has always been the case that the processing fee negotiated is the final word. The other party's packaging and wholesale are now 5 yuan cheaper than mine, and there is still a profit of 15 to 20. This profit is a normal profit in the old market. The other party's booth fee is higher than your own, so if you want to fight. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing when he saw the 4 women staring at him, and asked, "Why are you all looking at me? Look at you for showing off." Otherwise, what are you looking at? Do you think you are good looking? Xiaoan scolded angrily. Don't dare, Zhang Chen said with a smile. From now on, whether it is wholesale or packaged, it will be reduced by 35 yuan immediately. Ah, Xiao Zhao and Xiao Li were both surprised. This much? He Hongmei asked. Yes, I have already calculated their costs. Their profit is between 15 and 20, without sharing the daily stall fee. If we reduce it by 35, we can ensure that they lose money on every piece of clothing. But in this case, we won't make any money, right? Xiao Zhao said. Yes, we have no money to make. At most, half of the factory is working for nothing, and half of it is still making money. But we must do this. They still have more than 10,000 pieces of clothes that have not been released. Starting from today, we have 9,000 pieces of clothes. If the number of pieces continues, their more than 10,000 pieces can be turned into inventory, unless they accept the loss and rush out, but the loss is not a small amount. What Zhang Chen didn't tell Xiao Zhao and the others was that even so, he still didn't work in vain and still had a few yuan in profit. He was prepared to lower the price by another 5 yuan if the other party admitted compensation and followed up on their price. That is your own cost. Zhang Chen looked at the beggar's uniform outside the door and thought, what's more, this most profitable one has not yet participated in the price war. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Zhao and the others in a low voice, do you know who is imitating us in the old market? They all shook their heads. Zhang Chen pointed to the next door and said, her daughter. Ah, several people were surprised. Mom, no wonder. It turns out the thief is around, Xiaoan scolded. Yes, the thieves are around us, Zhang Chen said. If we don't beat them up this time, can we still have peace in the future? I agree with what Master said, do it. He Hongmei said, and she also laughed after saying this. When she said this, she completely regarded herself as one of their people, not their client. Xiao Zhao held He Hongmei's hand, and she said to Zhang Chen, okay, let's do this. I'm going back to the factory to make arrangements. Will you go? Zhang Chen asked He Hongmei. Go, there's a big sale. I have to go to the factory to deliver the goods. They also started shipping out the goods today. I have to catch up. If there is one from Chongqing, I will beat him to death, He Hongmei shouted. When they arrived at the factory, Zhang Chen called Zhao Zhigang and Lao Wan over and told them what happened. Only then did Zhao Zhigang talk about what happened to the man that day, and said angrily. Oh, if I had known he was here to steal copies, I wouldn't have let him go that day and beat him until he was half dead. If you can even know this, you are a god, Zhang Chen said, but in the future, we will still have to build a strong fence. Damn it, I never thought that this costume maker can still perform gunshots from the Bureau of Secrecy. That's because you have little knowledge, He Hongmei said, this is normal in a shopping mall. Well, it's not that I don't understand, it's that the world is changing rapidly. Zhang Chen told Lao Wan to immediately ask his fellow villagers who were expanding the sample room to stop what they were doing. First, erect an iron fence around the factory, and then add a gate at the intersection. He and Zhao Zhigang said. In the future, if they are not from the factory or someone you are familiar with, don't let them in. If this happened once, it will definitely happen again. We need to nip it in the bud. Zhao Zhigang agreed that when he usually goes to work, he can close the door and only open it when necessary. Lao Wan and Zhao Zhigang both walked out, leaving only Zhang Chen and He Hongmei in the office. He Hongmei and Zhang Chen said, now it seems that your idea of expanding the showroom is too wise and too high. After saying this, she went out and asked Lao Wan to prepare her own goods. Zhang Chen thought of something. He dialed Xiao Li's phone and told him, on the label of the goods you sent for me, can you help me erase the name of your company with ink? Also, on the label don't write your company's name and phone number on the outer woven bag. He was worried that someone else would follow him to the shipping department, tear open the outer woven bag from the shipping department, and steal the label on the real head. Xiao Li immediately understood and said with a smile, "Why, do you want to keep it a secret?" "Yep. In this case, I will remove all the labels on the roll and write another code sheet. All the quantities will be written on this code sheet. Together with the delivery note, I will pack it in the middle of the fabric and you will receive it. When you go out, cut the packing tape and look for it." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, that's it. Thank you Tiger for your monthly pass. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 583. Zhang Chen made phone calls one by one and told those packaging customers who were still selling wick strips that starting from today, the price of wick strips would be adjusted and told them the new packaging price. The customers were very happy when they heard that there had been such a large increase. Placed a new order immediately. The sample room was being renovated, and they moved the design work to the office. The sample workers temporarily went to the workshop to squeeze in. When it was almost 5 o'clock, Lao Wan came in and told He Hungmei that the bags were packed and I was going to deliver the goods. "Will you go?" "I'm not going," He Hungmei said, "I want to eat in your cafeteria." Zhang Chen stood up and said I would pick up Xiao Zhao. He Hungmei knew that what he said about picking up Xiao Zhao was a lie, and that Xiao Zhao and Lao Wan could also be brought back. He couldn't hold back, and it was true that he had to go and see the battle situation. She said, "Okay, I'll send you there, and I'll also go and see how the battle is going." Zhang Chen looked at her, and both of them laughed. Zhang Chen handed his bicycle key to Lao Wan and told him, "Then help me bring the bicycle back." Then he turned to He Hungmei and said, "Are you sending us off?" "Of course, I have to come back to eat. I saw that there was pig blood tofu in the canteen at night," He Hungmei said. When they arrived at the stall, they knew the situation without asking. They saw that even the sample clothes on the wall had been taken away. Xiaoli pointed to the black bag in the corner and said to He Hungmei, "I almost sold you all. This can't be sold, I still have use for it," He Hungmei said. Zhang Chen asked how Xiao Zhao was doing. Xiao Zhao said, "It's so cheap, so of course the afternoon ones are sold out, but every time a set is sold, my heart aches." Everyone laughed. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You are heartbroken, but you have to think about it, other people's hearts are bleeding, so you just." "I feel comfortable," Xiao Zhao said with a smile. Zhang Chen looked at the empty walls and told Xiaoli that he would keep the samples here no matter what from now on. "Even if the clothes are sold out, don't sell the samples." "Why, you keep it to eat," Xiaoan said from the side. He Hungmei smiled and said, "He wants the battle flag to fly high on the battlefield forever, so that when someone comes looking for it, they can see it, especially those who bought goods over there. When they come here, they feel regretful. This I will never buy goods from that store again in my life." Zhang Chen smiled and nodded, and everyone else understood. At around 7 o'clock, Zhang Chen and Xiao Li were busy. He Hungmei came in with 2 bags of steamed buns. She told them that the steamed buns were on the table, then picked up the black bag and went out. She walked to the stall in the old market and saw that there were still many customers buying goods. This was easy to understand. The old market was an old market after all, and there were many customers. As soon as she got off the car, she went to the old market first and finished shopping in the old market. Only when you go to the market do you go to other markets. Everyone knows that the goods in the old market are cheap. He Hungmei walked in and said to the boss lady, "Boss lady, can you help me return this product? I just opened the store and I don't understand anything." I entered the wrong place. She said that she had just opened the store and it was normal for her to talk nonsense. But when she heard that she wanted to return the goods, not only the proprietress felt strange, but also those who were picking up the goods stopped and looked at her. With so many customers in the store, the proprietress couldn't help but say, "Why did you return such an easy-to-sell product? We don't have enough to sell every day." "What's so good? I went in yesterday and was scolded by my mother. The store next door to us also sells them. The price they sell is more expensive than the price I pay for it." The landlady got upset and cursed, go away, what are you talking about here?" He pretended to be heartless and shouted, "Why am I talking nonsense, boss lady? You won't retreat until you retreat. Why do you call me nonsense?" This was a slap in the face, but she took advantage of it. The landlady was worried. Where did this stupid lady come from? She really couldn't figure it out. While the two were talking, more and more people were in the store, and the landlady shouted "Road. Okay, you're not talking nonsense. Can you please go out? I'm very busy now. I won't go out if you don't help me withdraw. Also, you are calling me nonsense. I have found this stall in the market next door. Their price is 35 yuan cheaper than yours. The workmanship is better than yours. I don't care, let's go. If you say I'm talking nonsense, I'll take you to see if what I'm saying is true." "Who is talking nonsense? People have said that you are imitating other people's styles." Some people who were already picking up goods put down their goods when they heard He Hungmei's words. The lady boss also understood that this little girl was not stupid, but just pretending to be stupid. She was here to cause trouble. She picked up the black bag and looked at it, took out the money from her pocket, stuffed it into He Hungmei's hand, and shouted at her, "Go away, if you don't go away, I'm really rude." As He Hungmei counted the money in her hand, she muttered that with such a bad attitude towards doing business, no wonder she could only make imitations. When she saw that the landlady was really angry, she quickly smiled and ran away. She walked into the passage, and was chased by 5 or 6 people who were originally at the stall and were about to get the goods. Someone grabbed her and asked, "Little girl, where is the stall you mentioned?" He Hungmei yelled and told them that that was the genuine product and it was 35 yuan cheaper. The 5 or 6 people left quickly. He Hungmei screamed loudly. A customer in the stall who was about to pay heard it. He put down the black bag in his hand and said to the proprietress, "Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I'll come back later." She pulled up her cart and hurried away. There were a few others who put down their goods without saying a word and followed them out. The landlady was so angry that she chased him out of the passage. Seeing that He Hungmei had walked more than 10 meters, she wanted to chase him, but after thinking about it, she held back. She thought that if the trouble continued for a long time, the guests would be gone all morning. They will all be driven away by her. Besides, everything they said was true. When there was a commotion, security rushed over and got to the market office, but he couldn't say anything. Although she already knew in her heart that this person must have something to do with Zhang Chen and the others, she had seen Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao, including the salesperson. If they really got into trouble, she couldn't say for sure that she was Zhang Chen. People in their stalls. The proprietress could only glare at He Hungmei's back twice, and returned to her stall under the gaze of many people from the surrounding stalls waiting to see the joke. He Hungmei turned around and saw that the landlady behind her didn't follow her. She smiled proudly and walked out. She hadn't eaten breakfast yet, so she decided to have a bowl of wontons and a small steamed bun. Zhang Chen and Xiao Li couldn't understand why there were more than a dozen customers entering the stall at the same time. After entering, they asked about the price and started grabbing without even looking at the styles. It seemed that they were not familiar with these styles. It seems very clear. With so many customers appearing at the same time, Zhang Chen and Xiao Li were in a hurry. They could take care of one end but not the other. Upon seeing this, a Yang hurried over and nodded to Zhang Chen, meaning you do your business, I'll be here. I'll help you guard the prison outside. When there were more people were attracted, and the stall couldn't be crowded. Hundreds of clothes were quickly sold out. A customer passing by outside also joined in the fun and came to have a look. When he saw it, he was obedient. Isn't this the same product I bought at the old market? She asked a person who was holding a large armful of clothes and waiting to check out, how much do these clothes cost? The man told her, and she was shocked and shouted, so cheap? Damn it, I bought the goods. Before she finished speaking, the man glanced at her and asked, you came from the old market, right? She nodded. The man said to her, you were tricked. We were there in front of you, and we almost got tricked too. Fortunately, a little girl told her, so we ran over. She took out the suit from her bag and compared it with the one in the man's hand. The 2 rows of buttonholes were very eye-catching, and she could not help but curse. Look, the workmanship is not as good as here. I'm really cheated. No, 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 I'm going to return it, she said and left in a hurry. The man looked at her back and smiled with some schadenfreude, thinking to himself, return the goods, how is it possible to return the goods? Is there any jijjiking that can be returned after it has been purchased? It was just a quarrel to vent the bad anger in my heart. Zhang Chen heard their conversation from a few people away, and then he understood what He Hongmei was doing with the black bag, and why these people came all of a sudden. The old Wenzhou lady next door heard what they were doing, so she came out and stood in the passage to watch. Xiaoli saw her and pretended not to notice. She deliberately quoted the price very loudly. The old Wenzhou lady heard it and it felt like it was burning, and he trembled all over and retreated into the stall. A Yang looked at her and felt that this old woman understood Mandarin completely. She said she didn't understand, but she was actually pretending. All the goods in the stall were sold out, and there were still 2 customers who didn't get the goods. They begged Zhang Chen to give them the samples on the wall. Zhang Chen told them that they couldn't touch the samples like this. I asked the factory to send some more over, you can come and get them later. How long? The other party asked. About an hour, Zhang Chen said. Both of them wrote down the goods they wanted, and told Zhang Chen that when the goods were delivered, they must save them for them, and Zhang Chen agreed. After everyone left, Yang came in and asked Zhang Chen, why did you sell it at this price today? I remember it was not the same yesterday. Zhang Chen told him the matter, and Yang shouted, you have to guard against neighbors even if you're guarding against thieves and thefts. He Hongmei wandered in, saw that the stall was empty, and shouted, not bad, the results are brilliant. Where did you go to demolish the trash? Zhang Chen asked. No, I just went to return the clothes, He Hongmei said innocently. A Yang said with a smile, little sister, you are amazing. Once you buy this stuff, you can still withdraw it? They will suffer even greater losses if they don't retreat, He Hongmei said with a smile. 3 days later, He Hongmei went to that aisle again. She felt happy when she saw that the stall was deserted. The salesperson stood at the door and kept shouting, new models, come and see, they are all new models. He Hongmei walked to the door and almost laughed. She saw clothes piled up like a mountain inside the stall. The proprietress was sitting there, looking at a loss. When she saw He Hongmei, she still remembered her and stared at her angrily. He Hongmei pretended not to see her and turned to greet the stall owner diagonally opposite her. After He Hongmei walked over, the proprietress walked out and asked the person across the street, do you know her? She? Miss He, she's from Chongqing. She packs food in the market every day. She does a lot of business. The proprietress walked back to the stall, sat down, and shook her head. It turned out that this woman was from Chongqing, not from Zhang Chen's stall. It seemed that she had thought wrong, but, no, if she was a packer, why did she say that that day? I just opened a store. Later. Xylee just opened the door and moved the model to their stall near the next stall. The old lady from Wenzo next door came out and stood in the passage at the door cursing something. Xylee was like Xiaoan, she jumped out and pointed at the other person and yelled, "Old sis, you steal other people's editions, your business is not good, whose clothes can't be sold. Do you still have the nerve to say it?" At such an old age, she still looks like a scoundrel, no wonder she gave birth to such a shameless daughter. People from the nearby stalls gathered around, and Xylee loudly told everyone how they stole the editions over and over again. Stealing editions, no matter how you put it, is a disgraceful thing in the market, and those who were stolen were angry. Everyone can understand. The old lady in Wenzo obviously understood what Xylee was cursing, and she backed away angrily. After that, the stall next to Zhang Chen's group was transferred. Thank you book friends 2017112310390126 and we ISA 99,999 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 584. Although Xiao Zhao had no reaction at all and she felt that she was still far away from being alive, her due date had arrived and everyone still insisted that she must go to the hospital. The hospital was the second Zhejiang hospital that Chu Tianlin contacted with the help of Chu Tianlin. Zhang Chen didn't even call. His mother calculated Xiao Zhao's due date and rushed over from Yongcheng. Zhang Chen arranged for them to stay at the Hunky Hotel and went from the Hunky Hotel to the second Zhejiang hospital. It's only a few minutes walk away, very convenient. Sister Gihua brought a coal cake stove from home and placed it at the door of the boiler room, so that Zhang Chen's mother could stew chicken and steam fish on the coal cake stove every day and deliver it to Xiao Zhao. Although Xiao Zhao no longer works at the Red Flag Hotel, the people here still regard her as one of their own, just like their own family members who are having a baby, and they all want to lend a hand to help. After Xiao Zhao was hospitalized, Chu Tianlin asked Xiaoan to go to Zhang Chen's stall every day to help. In addition, He Hongmei also stepped in to help from time to time. Although the business in the stall was very busy, with these three women around, it was not a big deal. Cope with it? Zhang Chen stays with him in the ward every night. During the day, when his parents come to take over, he rides his bicycle, first to Sijiking, and then to the factory. He goes home for a nap at noon, and is still in the factory in the afternoon. Went to Sijiking at around 4 o'clock, and listened to Xiaoan and Xiaoli talking to him about the sales situation throughout the day, especially the customers' reaction to their clothes. The factory is now all making winter clothes, and all the wick strips have been sold out. Finally, the goods from that company have been forced into inventory. There are still more than 3,000 meters of slub fabric left. Zhang Chen is not in a hurry. The beggar's clothes will be available next spring. Can be sold. The showroom has been rebuilt, and the surrounding iron fences and gates have been completed. Zhang Chen also asked Lao Wan's fellow villagers to build an awning in front of the factory. The awning was so large that it took up 1/3 of the drying area. In the awning, an 80 or 90 square meter warehouse was partitioned off with iron bars. So much fabric and elastic cotton arrived, and if they were all piled in the cutting room, there would be no place to work. Also, we need a place to pack, and we have to send out more than a dozen bags every day, which are filled with cotton clothes and trousers. They can handle it on sunny days, but if it rains, Lao Wan and the others will have to hide in the corridor to do it, which is too crowded. One side of the awning is connected to the factory building, and the workers also find it very convenient. Especially on rainy days, they don't have to get wet when going to the canteen and dormitories, and it also gives people a sense of security, especially on winter nights. The entire factory area is patched up and patched together. Every temporary building was added temporarily when needed, without prior planning. It looks a bit messy. This mess further shows how busy the factory is. Inside, still in order. This messy and busy environment gives people a feeling of being prosperous and unable to stop moving forward. This feeling can especially impress those packaging customers. When they come and take a look, they will know that this factory is busy. It's very real, I'm not pretending to show it to them. This business is really good, not just average. When I walked into the showroom again and saw so many products, I understood that they were busy for a reason. Without any hesitation, they shipped the goods. Even Zhang Chen and his many customers who have good business and open retail stores, such as those in Wuhu, Ma'anshan, Nanjing, and later developed places such as Fuzhou and Hefei, when they arrive in Hangzhou, they don't go to the stalls and go directly to the factory. Come on, they also know that they can get newer and more goods at the factory. What's more, there are now 3 sample workers, and Zhang Chen pays great attention to matching. There are new styles almost every day. Many new sample clothes are produced, not 1, but 3 or 4. Many of the sample clothes were not prepared for mass production when they were typed. They were meant to match the clothes in the showroom. Some were simply an idea in the minds of Zhang Chen and He Hongmei. They were typed out for fun. Because these sample clothes are unique products, they are particularly popular with customers of these retail stores. Almost every store has several such customers. They dare to wear any kind of clothes, but they have to be different from others. What's more, almost half of their stores now sell Zhang Chen's products. When they arrive in Hangzhou, Sanbao is of course their first choice. On the day when the season changes, He Hongmei is very busy now. She walks around the market every day, looking for new goods to deliver. There is one stall in Chongqing that sells all Zhang Chen's products, but she also has 4 other stalls. Need to ship other goods. After He Hongmei finished her work every day, she would go around Zhang Chen's stall. When Zhang Chen was there, she would send him back to Sanbao. There was now a special place for her in the showroom. When she got here, she would happily call Road. Oh, I can finally put my head out of the water and get some air. When she shouted like this, she smacked her lips, as if she were really a fish rising out of the water, which made the 3 little girls who were making clothes amused. During the day, no matter where Zhang Chen was, he would look at the BB camera in his waist every 10 minutes. He himself felt that he was getting nervous. He was afraid that something would happen in the hospital and his parents would detain him. And he didn't hear it. Sometimes he seemed to hear the beeping sound, and when he looked down, the display screen was dark again. Zhang Chen shook his head, as if to get this annoying auditory hallucination out of his mind. He Hongmei looked at him and said seriously, "Master, I think you need to get a big brother." "Why?" "It's convenient to have so many people looking for you every day, especially when you are not in the factory or stall. If a customer wants to see you for something, or if Zili, Zhaozigang, or others have something urgent to ask you, they can call you directly and detain you. By the time you find the phone number and come back, the daylilies will be cold, and my parents have already been assigned a big brother, which is very convenient." He Hongmei looked at him and continued, "Also, this big brother is also a symbol of strength. Whether you are talking about customers, or going out to find fabrics and accessories, or contact other businesses, take out your business card and it will have the big brother number on it. People will take you a little more seriously, and it will be easy to talk about it, really." Zhang Chen listened to these words. He remembered that when they went to Jianjian and Zhangjiagang, people saw that they drove here by themselves, and they paid special attention to them. It seemed that it was easier to talk about things. He Hongmei is right. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much money you have in the bank, you can't stick a passbook on your face. Don't you have to use things like cars and mobile phones to reflect your strength? Besides, having a mobile phone will indeed be a lot more convenient for them, especially since there is no telephone where they live. Whether it is a customer or Zhao Zhigang, if they need to find something, they can find him directly. It's not like they don't have this ability. When he went to the hospital in the evening, Zhang Chen discussed the matter with Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao also felt that what He Hongmei said was reasonable. She said, "Let her accompany you to buy it tomorrow." Zhang Chen said yes. The next day, He Hongmei accompanied Zhang Chen to the telecommunications building. What excited Zhang Chen was that in the glass counter, in addition to the black and white brick machine, there was also a Motorola MicroTac, which was much smaller than the brick machine. Can be operated with one hand. The flat body has a retractable antenna on the top, and a folding cover underneath. Open it up to reveal the buttons. This phone does not require a special phone bag and can be stuffed directly into the butt pocket of your pants. Inside, Zhang Chen and He Hongmei were both attracted by this mobile phone. The salesperson introduced to them that this is the latest model and has just arrived. In addition to making and receiving calls, this mobile phone also has one of the biggest advantages. It is that brick phones do not have. Yes, it has a phone book function. Really, let's put it this way, you don't need to carry an address book with you in the future, and you don't need to carry a bunch of business cards. You can find out whose phone number you want to call from this phone, He Hongmei shouted. Yes. The salesperson nodded with a smile, took out the mobile phone from the glass counter, opened it, and demonstrated the phone book function to them. The two of them looked at it and found it strange. Quickly, tell us how much it is, He Hongmei said anxiously. 23,008, the salesperson said, but we need to place an order. What, you still need to place an order? How can a building as big as yours be called a telecommunications building if it doesn't even have such a small telephone? He Hongmei shouted. Zhang Chen and the salesperson were both amused by He Hongmei's statement. The salesperson said, I can't help it, the goods allocated are too few and there are too many people asking for them, but... Nothing, tell me quickly, He Hongmei said. If you are really in urgent need, I can give you the goods in stock for an expedited fee of 1,000 yuan. Unable to allow Zhang Chen to speak, He Hongmei shouted, urgent, urgent, of course urgent, how long will it take to wait? Okay, miss. Can I swipe my card? This is an independent mobile phone counter in the lobby of the telecommunications building. The salesperson called to the back of the hall, the main counter, Manager Huang, this customer wants to buy mobile phone, can he swipe his card? The POS machine is broken, and the bank hasn't come to repair it yet. The man called Manager Huang stuck his head out from behind the counter, looked over and shouted. Then you go with me, master, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen asked curiously, what do you want to do? Go get some money. You want to buy it too? Yeah, I didn't think of buying it at first, but seeing how beautiful it is, I couldn't help but buy it, He Hongmei said to the salesperson. 2 express units, please keep them for us, and we'll get the money and come back. The salesperson said yes. After buying the phone, the two of them got into the car. He Hongmei immediately called Zhang Chen. The two of them sat in the driver's seat and the passenger seat and chatted. Boss, you really look like a boss now, He Hongmei said to her elder brother. Zhang Chen smiled and said, you look more like a boss lady like this. You drive a car and hold a mobile phone. You are not just an ordinary boss lady. You look like a resplendent boss lady at first glance. Yes, yes, boss, I am your mother, He Hongmei said, and the two of them laughed. Boss, where do you want to go next? You guess. I guess you want to go to the hospital. Guessed it right. Okay, let's go to the hospital now. If anything happens, please contact me. Bye. He Hongmei said goodbye and waved to Zhang Chen, which made her eldest brother angry. Hongmei started the car. Zhang Chen sat in the passenger seat, still holding the mobile phone in his hand. He found the address book from it, and listed Lu Ligan, Meng Ping, Qian Fang, Brother Tan, Li Yong, Chen Qiang, Chu Tianlin's office, Wang. The phone numbers of Haniao store, my own factory, stalls, Hunky Hotel, and the downstairs of Yangqing's house were all entered one by one. After losing, I thought that Hongmei's big brother number was still there, so I quickly lost it again. After thinking about it, he thought of Xiao Li's office in Zhangjiagang and the phone number of Yang Chengwu Troop. Although this phone number had not been called for several years, he always felt that it should still have a place in his heart. Zhang Chen closed the flip cover, took the mobile phone and thought for a while. There was no more phone calls to make. He then opened the flip cover and dialed Lu Ligan's number. Haha, Zhang Chen, Meng Ping and Li Yong are here with me. We just talked about you. We really connected with each other as soon as the call came through, Lu Ligan shouted when he heard it was Zhang Chen. As Lu Ligan raised the microphone, Meng Ping and Li Yong both came over and shouted, Zhang Chen, how are you? Zhang Chen quickly said, okay, I have been too busy during this period and have not contacted you. How are you? Of course we are fine. I didn't see the three landlords having a meeting. Every word we uttered was worth 10,000 taels of gold. As Lu Ligan said, Meng Ping and Li Yong burst into laughter, and Zhang Chen also laughed. Lu Ligan asked, what about you, Zhang Chen, is the business in the store good? Okay, Zhang Chen said, now we have a factory of our own, with more than 80 workers, and the factory is also very busy. Great. Now 3 landlords and a capitalist are talking on the phone. Lu Ligan shouted, by the way, you and Xiao Zhao don't move in Hangzhou. When I go back for the new year, I will take you back to Yongcheng City. When Lu Ligan said this, Zhang Chen also woke up. Time flies so fast. It's already November in a blink of an eye, and in more than 2 months, it will really be the Spring Festival. Zhang Chen, I'll go back with you. We'll get together in Hangzhou before I go back to Nanjing. Meng Ping called on the phone. Okay, Meng Ping, I'll wait for you in Hangzhou. Oh Zhang Chen, it's a pity that I still have to stay in Haikan, otherwise I would have gone with Meng Ping. Li Yong shouted. It doesn't matter, doesn't he have a clothing factory there? Zhang Chen, you design a pair of floral shorts for Li Yong. This guy is getting fatter and fatter, and he can't even buy shorts. Okay, I'll design a pair of linen cotton shorts for him to keep him warm and to cover up prickly heat in Haikan, Zhang Chen said. On both ends of the phone, everyone laughed. Thank you Tin Soldier, reading books every day, ranking 3rd from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore for your continued rewards. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 585. There are 3 beds in the ward. Xiao Zhao is in the first bed and there are 2 more beds. Their due date is the same day as Xiao Zhao, but one of them gave birth the day before yesterday and the other the day before yesterday. 5 days have passed since the due date, and Xiao Zhao is still quiet here, with no reaction at all. After the doctor checked, he also felt puzzled. Everything seemed to be normal, and the amniotic fluid did not decrease. The B ultrasound examination showed that the fetal position was also normal. The umbilical cord is not wrapped around the neck either. The doctor could only tell Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen to wait patiently. If the amniotic fluid decreases or the umbilical cord wraps around the neck, we will consider a cesarean section immediately. That time has not yet arrived. They waited before that time. Zhang Chen forgot to read it in that book. It seemed to say that babies born naturally had a stronger sense of balance than those born by cesarean section. Of course, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao chose this one. In the dead of night, Xiao Zhao would say to Zhang Chen, "Look, I've told you a long time ago, This guy is just as scoundrel as you. He stays in there, feels comfortable, and won't come out if he can't speak out. Zhang Chen said seriously, well, maybe you are not pregnant with Zhang Xiangbei, but Zhang Neza. The baby was not yet born, but Xiao Zhao was frightened twice, both by the two pregnant women in the same ward. When she was about to give birth, the painful moans of her uterus during contractions frightened her. After giving birth, she was still in pain. Look again, look at how ugly those two children are. Suction cups were used during the birth process. Their heads were sucked by the suction cups and protruded like two bullets. Although doctors and family members of pregnant women say that this is normal and they will recover after a while, but when you think about the child's head being sucked like this, you can imagine the pain of the mother. These two women returned to the ward. At that time, my face was as white as paper, and every part of my body was limp. Xiao Zhao knew that giving birth would be painful, but she didn't know that it would be so painful that she could not bear to die. Her face turned pale with fright. She scolded Zhang Chen, look, happiness is yours, but pain requires me to hurt you. I won't do it. Zhang Chen stroked her face and said, what should I do? Or think of a way to let me hurt her. Xiao Zhao said, I have actually thought of a way. What can we do? Zhang Chen asked. I want to eat hot pot. Ah, Zhang Chen was startled, but he immediately came to his senses and said, okay, when you are discharged from the hospital, we will go have hot pot. What's the use? I've given birth to it, and I'm afraid that I'm over it. I just want to eat it now. Give me courage. The doctor won't agree to this, right? Why do you want her to agree? We won't treat her to food. Let's go, guo guo, Xiao Zhao said coquettishly, you don't know how uncomfortable I am now. Do you know what your mother gives me every day? What? Light steamed crucian carp, sweet pig's feet. Zhang Chen almost laughed. He thought that his mother lived in the hunky hotel and guarded a briquette stove every day. The people at the hunky hotel must have provided countless folk remedies and recipes every day. These crucian carp and pig's feet might even be they brought it. His mother brought these to Xiao Zhao, and he knew that Xiao Zhao would eat them even if he had the courage to do so, and even pretend to taste delicious. You don't know, I feel like vomiting every day, so I just thought it would be better to lock me in a slag cave and give me pepper water, Xiao Zhao complained. Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Well, guo guo, you won't be so merciless. Look at your wife doing this every day, suffering twice and suffering twice. I really want to eat hot pot. Zhang Chen thought, Xiao Zhao is not a patient, but she is just about to give birth to a child. The doctor also said that everything is normal now. Xiao Zhao does not look like a person who is about to give birth. What should he be afraid of after eating hot pot once? He eats steamed crucian carp every day. There is no salt, and the stewed pig's feet is added with sugar. It really makes anyone want to die. Besides, it's only a little way from here to Sichuan Flavor Temple on Fenki Road. This time, we won't do it next time, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said. Okay, I promise I won't do this again. Then you get out of bed, get dressed, I'll check at the door, and we'll sneak out. Xiao Zhao shouted excitedly, okay, hurry up and go. Zhang Chen supported Xiao Zhao and walked out of the ward. A nurse happened to pass by. The two wanted to retreat to the ward, but it was too late. The nurse looked at them and asked, what are you doing out here? Zhang Chen quickly said, the room is too stuffy. Help her to walk in the corridor. The nurse walked over and the two of them laughed secretly. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said, it's a good guo guo. Urgency brings wisdom. The two of them walked slowly, pretending to be walking in the corridor, and walked to the elevator. Zhang Chen looked behind him. There was no one in the hospital corridor at about 10 o'clock in the evening. The elevator was not on this floor, but on the first floor, Zhang Chen he reached out and pressed the down button. The two people did not stop, but continued to walk forward. After walking for more than 10 steps, they turned around and saw the elevator coming up. The two of them quickened their pace slightly and walked to the elevator. The elevator stopped just in time and the door opened. The two of them hurriedly stepped in. Xiao Zhao actually moved faster than Zhang Chen. He didn't look like a pregnant woman expecting to give birth at all. Zhang Chen quickly pressed the first floor button and then clicked the door close button. The two people's hearts were pounding. When the elevator door closed and the elevator started to go down, the two people couldn't help it anymore and started laughing. On the first floor, the elevator door opened. Zhang Chen helped Xiao Zhao out of the elevator. After taking 2 steps, Xiao Zhao hugged Zhang Chen and shouted, "Oh, I can't help it anymore, I feel like I'm going to give birth, hurry up, call the doctor, I'm going to fall." After sweating profusely, Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei lay there. Lu Ligan smoked a cigarette from the bedside table, lit it, and stuffed it between Zheng Wei's lips and teeth, then lit one himself and took a deep puff. Zheng Wei puffed out a puff of cigarette, carrying the warm breath in her mouth. Zheng Wei smiled and said, "Do we feel like two men lying together like this?" Lu Ligan said, "Like, but I feel like I'm not strong enough to win. What's this mess? I really want to fight you with a bayonet, but it's a pity that you don't have a bayonet." Zheng Wei was stunned for a moment, and then understood what Lu Ligan was talking about. She twisted Lu Ligan hard, and Lu Ligan laughed. On the bedside table, Lu Ligan's big brother suddenly rang. To die? Lu Ligan suddenly became nervous. Why did he even forget to turn off his phone today? "It's 2 o'clock, who is it?" Zheng Wei asked. Lu Ligan's big brother was placed on Zheng Wei's bedside table. Lu Ligan quickly got out of bed and wanted to get the big brother, but Zheng Wei took it in his hand first and pressed the answer button. It's over, at this point in time, besides the two diehards Wen Wen and Qian, who else could be there? Lu Ligan's head buzzed, and he felt a sigh in his heart. "Hey, Pole, I'm Zhang Chen." Zhang Chen's voice came from the eldest brother's office. Lu Ligan was ecstatic, and cold sweat broke out on his back. Zheng Wei handed the big brother to Lu Ligan, who took it and shouted, "Zhang Chen, you are working overtime in the factory in the middle of the humming night. Are you so idle that you want to call me?" "I'm not in the factory, I'm in the hospital." "At the hospital, what happened? What the hell happened to you?" "Xiao Zhao is pregnant." "Ah. Haha, Xiao Zhao is pregnant. Come on, tell me. What's happening?" Zhang Chen laughed, "I'm sorry to disappoint you, Xiao Zhao gave birth to Zhang Xiangbei." "Boy. Another bayonet." Lu Lizan was naked and stood on the carpet in front of the bed. While answering the phone, he looked at Zheng Wei and smiled. Xiao Zhao was born. Zheng Wei immediately wanted to come over and say congratulations to Zhang Chen. He stood up and fell down again. "It's too late and you two are still together. What does that mean?" She stretched out her foot and kicked Lu Ligan, who staggered. Zhang Chen asked, "What the hell? What's the extra bayonet?" It's okay. Boys are boys, and boys are not bad. When he grows up, starting from kindergarten, Dad, I will teach him how to pick up girls." "You," Zhang Chen said with a smile, "Okay, I won't tell you anymore." They came out of the operating room. Lu Ligan hung up his elder brother and turned off his phone. He wanted to go back to bed. Zheng Wei stretched out his feet, pressed against his chest and asked, "Tell me, who do you want to teach how to pick up girls? Who do you want to pick up?" Lu Ligan chuckled, "I'll teach you how to pick me up." Zheng Wei kicked lightly, but let go of his foot. Lu Ligan fell down, breathed a long sigh of relief, and shouted, "I'm not going back today. I'm going to be a father. I want to be comfortable and sleep until dawn. Zheng Wei looked at this man and thought to himself, how much this guy likes children. It would be great if he could have a child of theirs with him. Zheng Wei sighed softly. The nurse washed Zhang Xiangbei, carried him over, and placed him next to Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao looked at his child and then at the other two beds. He felt a sense of pride and satisfaction in his heart. This ward only had theirs. The child is not a bullet, look how cute he looks. It was already done outside the ward. Zhang Chen's parents and Zhang Chen also looked at the baby. They saw that he had cried, they saw that he had fed, they saw that he had opened his eyes, they saw that they had laughed, they saw that he was sleeping again. They had been watching him for hours, but they still hadn't seen enough. Xiao Zhao, are you really not in pain at all? Zhang Chen's mother asked. She had asked this question many times. Xiao Zhao shook her head and said, really mom, I felt a little pain at the elevator entrance down below, but then I didn't feel anything at all. When the doctor told me that I had given birth, I thought it hadn't started yet. When Zhang Chen's mother heard what Xiao Zhao said, she hit Zhang Chen again. This time she blamed him for being so brave. At this time, she dared to take Xiao Zhao out to eat hot pot. Fortunately, she hadn't left the hospital yet. Zhang Chen laughed and said, why are you beating me? Xiao Zhao just remembered that the hot pot hasn't been eaten yet, so it went so well. Xiao Zhao chuckled. It can also be seen from Xiao Zhao's face and expression that her whole process was indeed painless at all. The two mothers' faces were pale when they returned to the ward, as if they were coming back from the line of life and death. Xiao Zhao came out of the operating room. With his face glowing red, he smiled when he saw them and said, it's really Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen remembered it and said, your master has taught me well, and you can also learn well. When Zhang Chen said this, Xiao Zhao also laughed. They all remembered that Sister Gihua told them that when she gave birth to her son, it was like laying an egg. Xiao Zhao didn't feel like giving birth to an egg this time. Did you lay an egg? At around 7 o'clock, Zhang Chen's parents made sure to drive Zhang Chen away and told him that they would be relieved after the baby was born. Why are you still here? Go about your own business, Xiao Zhao. We'll take care of it. After Zhang Chen's mother finished speaking, she added, I don't trust you to take care of me. This was another time to scold him for taking Xiao Zhao to eat hot pot. Zhang Chen quickly said okay, I'll leave right away. Zhang Chen leaned down and kissed Zhang Xiangbei on the face. Xiao Zhao stretched out his left hand. Zhang Chen understood. He took out his pen and drew a Zhang Chen brand watch on her wrist. Zhang Chen's parents, who had seen so much, looked at them with smiles. Zhang Chen's mother told Xiao Zhao, don't let the doctor see him, he will scold him. Xiao Zhao hummed. Zhang Chen left his eldest brother behind and told Xiao Zhao, just wait. There will definitely be a lot of calls coming in later. Meng Ping, Qian Fang, Zheng Wei, Lin Yiyan, Li Yang, Chen Qiang, or you should answer them in person well, let them feel the pride of you as a new mother. In addition, later you also call your aunt, brother Tan, and sister Tianlin and sister Gihua and tell them. Yes, Yao Zhao nodded. Zhang Chen left the hospital and rode on the car. He laughed all the way. He looked at everyone on the road with a smile on his face. The whole world was happy. Damn it, Zhang Xiangbei, come on. Wasn't it cool when you were there? Zhang Chen laughed out loud while riding on the car. People around him looked at him and were puzzled by his laughter. When Zhang Chen arrived at the stall, Xiaoan, Xiao Li and He Hongmei were all there. Seeing Zhang Chen coming in with a smile, Xiaoan rolled her eyes at him and cursed, did you find a treasure? Zhang Chen smiled and said, Xiao Zhao gave birth to a son. Ah, the three little girls all screamed. He Hongmei stood up and shouted, no more goods, I want to see Sister Xiao Zhao. I'll go too, Xiaoan shouted. She looked at Zhang Chen and said, I'll leave this place to you. The two men ran out. Zhang Chen looked at Xiaoli, and Xiaoli looked at him. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You can go with them too." Xiaoli laughed and hurriedly chased her out. She was still wearing the clothes being sold at the stall. Thank you for your monthly votes for Doll Tin Soldier, On the Shore 131, and reading books every day. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 586. When Lu Ligan woke up, he asked Zheng Wei, "Did I answer Zhang Chen's call last night? Did he tell me that Xiao Zhao was born?" Zheng Wei said yes. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, I thought I was dreaming, haha, Zhang Xiangbei, this little bastard is really here." Lu Li was overjoyed. Zheng Wei looked at the clock in the room. It was already 8:30. She said, "I'm going to call Zhang Chen." Lu Ligan understood. He jumped out of bed and shouted, "Okay, I'll go to the bathroom." Zheng Wei took her mobile phone and dialed Zhang Chen's mobile phone. She was surprised when she heard Xiao Zhao's voice coming from the phone. She couldn't believe her ears and asked, "Xiao Zhao, is that you?" "Yes, Sister Wei." "Didn't you just give birth to a baby?" "Why?" "It's the pole that told you, I'd like to call you later." "Stop fighting now and have a good rest," Zheng Wei said urgently. "I'm fine, Sister Wei, really," Xiao Zhao said and laughed, "I feel like I laid an egg." Zheng Wei laughed so much that he choked with laughter and quickly sat up. By the time Lu Ligan came out of the bathroom after taking a shower, Zheng Wei had already finished making phone calls and was sitting there thinking blankly. Lu Ligan looked at her and she woke up and said with a smile, "Xiao Zhao is so kind." She said it was like laying an egg and there was no pain at all. After saying that, Zheng Wei continued to smile, and Lu Ligan said, "That's not the case, she gave birth to a little bastard." Lu Ligan fell on the bed, his hair still wet. He asked Zheng Wei, "How about we give birth to a little bastard too?" Lu Ligan hugged Zheng Wei as he spoke. Zheng Wei wanted to get away from him and shouted, "It's almost time to go to work." "Never mind him," Lu Ligan said, his hands and feet not stopping. Zheng Wei also softened up, saying in his heart, "Take care of him, take care of him." Throughout the whole day, Zheng Wei felt uneasy. She didn't know why. As soon as Lu Ligan arrived at the office, he broadcast the news on the phone that he had successfully been promoted to the parent level. He had already made an appointment. In the end, it was said that we were going to celebrate Xiao Zhao's birthday that night. Zheng Wei felt that this was of course a happy thing. Lu Ligan was so happy that she was almost moved. For a moment in the morning, she was thinking, "Never mind him, don't take any measures, let's give birth to a little bastard." Egg, so what? But at the last minute, measures were taken. Lu Ligan walked into Zheng Wei's office and asked Zheng Wei, "I'm going to Jinghai Center to have a look, will you go?" Zheng Wei said go and she stood up. The two of them were sitting in the back seat of the car. Zheng Wei had the urge to hold Lu Ligan's hand, whether it was because he heard the good news about Xiao Zhao or because they hadn't been together for a long time and had been lingering all night. Zheng Wei felt that today, he felt a little different from himself. He couldn't control himself, was very weak, and wanted to be with Lu Lipol. The Jinghai Center started pouring underground works today. What appeared in front of them was a huge pit with an area of more than 8,000 square meters and a depth of nearly 20 meters. It took several people just to dig this huge pit and bury the pile foundation under the pit. Months' time. Inside and outside the pit, more than 20 mixers were working continuously. Lu Ligan watched the trucks of concrete being sent to the bottom of the pit along the zigzag ramp. The cars and people were getting smaller and smaller. The last one was as small as a banana, and then it got bigger little by little, pushing empty cars one after another. The mixers at the bottom of the pit were like toys. The area where the concrete was being poured was too big. If a truck of concrete fell, it would be like a drop of water falling into the sea without even making a ripple. But every drop of water is money, just falling, falling. Lou Ligon felt that the huge pit in front of him really looked like it was piled up with humming money. They were starting construction here and on Xinbu Island at the same time, and every day the money flowed out like a water pipe with a broken valve. Flow. Even Sun Ho and others are feeling the pressure of funds. Lou Ligon has suggested many times that in order to protect the Xinbu Island project, the Jinghai International Financial Center should be converted from leasing to sales, and now the pre-construction properties are being sold. Lou Ligon has confidence to withdraw funds quickly to fill the hole in Xinbu Island. Because of this, Zheng Wei flew back to Beijing to express his sincere words, but until now, neither the branch nor his own bank had a clear explanation. He told her face to face that he knew and that he should hurry up, but after she left, it was very likely that and put it away in a high cabinet. The reason why this happened, Zheng Wei knew in his heart, was that not only President Li of the branch, but also President Zhu of their own bank, including Sun Ho, were not very willing to do this. First, the reputation of the head office has been blown out. When the Hainan Jinghai International Financial Center is completed, the head office leaders will come to cut the ribbon in person. The ceremony for the inauguration of the center is also the ceremony for the establishment of their bank's Hainan branch, and it is also the day when many people officially take office. The head office has long since determined that the Jinghai International Financial Center is an important asset of their bank in Hainan. The hotter Hainan is, the more important this asset will be. As a result, when the center was completed, I discovered that this building already belonged to someone else and had nothing to do with them. At most, they were just a pre-developer and a later stage property owner, so it wasn't a humming one. A joke. President Zhu and Sun Ho were not active in this matter. Zheng Wei felt that they were waiting for the completion of the center so that he could go one step further and become the president or vice president of Hainan branch, or Sun Ho could replace President Zhu's current position. After all, this building was developed by their bank. President Zhu became the branch president in the building, and no one had anything to say. Sun Ho has been in charge of Hainan business. Of course, he deserves the most credit for the success of Hainan today. There is another thing that Zheng Wei has not told Lou Ligon for the time being. That is, once the preliminary work of Xinbu Island is completed, their bank has planned a training center for its head office on the island and will launch it as soon as possible. Other projects must make way for this project. Zheng Wei didn't tell Lou Ligon because she didn't find the right time or reason, and she didn't want to see Lou Ligon's loss and dejection, nor did she want to dampen his enthusiasm. It is said to be a training center, and there is a separate area next to it. It is planned to build more than a dozen villas facing the sea. This is left to a few leaders of the head office. Those who can live here must be them and the leaders above them. What Zheng Wei said to Lou Ligon before was right. The battle was fought hard by the front, but the results will always belong to the rear. Those in the rear will not understand the difficulties of the people in the front. You Lu Li, isn't it true that Gang Gang is very capable? They thought that there was no problem that Lu Ligan couldn't solve. Xiao Lu is in Hainan, so without any hesitation, let him take action, ha 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 ha. Zheng Wei sometimes regretted doing the Xinbu Island project. She felt a little sorry for Lou Ligon and felt that he might eventually be dragged down by these projects and become a tired old horse, unable to even hum a hey 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 hey. But Lou Ligon would definitely not see it that way. He really looked like nothing could trouble him. This guy, asking him to do anything is better than letting him be idle. When he has nothing to do, he will find something for himself. He is so energetic, just like a weed. If you put a stone on his head, he will also find a way to get a few green buds out of the cracks in the rocks. I can't help it, I like him, don't I just like how he looks like a dick all day long? Don't I just really hate those people who have neatly combed hair, don't smile, and are polite. Leaving the construction site of Jinghai International Financial Center, they went to Xinbu Island. The two bridges connecting Changde Road to Xinbu Island and Haidian Island to Xinbu Island have already started construction. There are already 2 bridges on the island. More than 100 people were sent up to clear the weeds and bushes. The area of Xinbu Island is really too big. Meng Ping and Lu Ligan said that if they bring 10 bulldozers up and push them for a month, they will guarantee to give you a new port island. Lu Ligan refused. He said that all the coconut trees and mangroves on the island must be kept. He followed Mr. Han's suggestion and tried to maintain the original landform of the island as much as possible. It would be meaningless if it was a flat plain. If the bulldozers go up, it will only turn this place into another Yangpuo. Lu Ligan and the others had been to Yangpuo, where the Zierga group had left a mess. Dozens of square kilometers of land had been plowed by bulldozers, leaving no grass growing. At the end of this bare land, there was only a small 3-story house. A small pier that is worse than a fishing village. Even though the land in Hainan has become so hot, few people are optimistic about it. Lu Ligan doesn't want his Xinbu Island to become like this. The birthday party was still held in Nance Huang in the evening. Chen Qiang and Lin Yiyan came with their sons. When Lu Ligan saw it, he almost shed tears. In fact, it was only 2 years, but it seemed like a century had passed. The 5 of them, who had met on the streets of Haiyan, were now a family of 3. Zhang Chen also had his own home and children, and Jin Lili Lu Ligan didn't even know where he was going, but what about himself? Lu Ligan felt that he didn't know either. He just felt like a ship in the vast ocean, drifting, drifting, and drifting. There was no dock where he could berth. Although Zheng Wei was sitting next to him and still holding his hand quietly under the table, he knew that this was not the woman who really belonged to him. If there was still love between them, there should be some, but that was also despair. Love. From the box, I couldn't see the sky outside, but it was almost 8 o'clock, it should be dark outside, and all the birds had returned to their nests. Meng Ping dialed Zhang Chen's eldest brother. Zhang Chen had returned to the hospital. Hearing the voices of so many good friends on the phone, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were very excited. People here kept shouting when they heard Xiao Zhao saying, "Xiangbei, Xiangbei, Zhang Xiangbei, look, look, who is this?" They heard Xiao Zhao saying their names to Zhang Xiangbei one by one. They saw Xiao Zhao holding up their son Zhang Xiangbei and looking at them as if from the phone. The boy smiled and made a baby noise. Laughter. Lu Ligan drank a lot of wine. He asked Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang to take him and Zheng Wei to Yedao Hotel and leave. They didn't bother to explain, and Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang didn't ask. After such a long time, if Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang, if you still can't tell what the relationship between them is, then you are really stupid. It's just that no one is going to pierce that layer of window paper. When Lu Ligan got off the car, he staggered a little. Zheng Wei supported him. The two of them walked through the hotel lobby and walked to the elevator. When they passed the sofa, 2 people who were sitting stood up. Zheng Wei stopped. When Lu Ligan heard Zheng Wei let out a cry of surprise, he immediately lost his drunkenness. "Mom, why are you here?" "Thank you to Laughing and Running Y, Li Rujin and Lao Chentang for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 587. Zheng Wei stood there, his body trembling slightly, and the hands held by the 2 people naturally let go. Lu Ligan saw another pair of hawk-like eyes piercing him. She was an old lady in her 60s. Even in Haikan, The top button of her shirt and the buttons on her cuffs were buttoned. Her entire face and movements were cold, like a sculpture. The pestle is there. Next to her stood a man in his 30s in a neat suit. He did not look at Zheng Wei, but looked at Lu Ligan coldly. Lu Ligan knew who he was without any introduction. Lu Ligan was thinking about how to greet Zheng Wei's mother when he heard Zheng Wei gently say to him, "You go first." Lu Ligan said, "Oh." He looked at the two people opposite him and wanted to smile as a greeting. However, the two people opposite him had no intention of laughing or getting to know him. The falcon-like gaze made Lu Ligan tremble, forcing him to retreat, and he turned around and left in a hurry. Lu Ligan walked to the gate, and a taxi happened to stop. The person on it had just gotten off, and before he could close the door, Lu Ligan climbed up. The driver asked him, "Where to go?" "Casual." The driver started the car and did not drive casually. He saw that Lu Ligan was a mainland boy, so he thought that these people from the mainland, without exception, must want to see the night view of Haikan, especially the colorful scenery along the way, so the car drove towards Haixia Road. Lu Ligan came to his senses when he saw Wanghai International Hotel outside. He told the driver to go to Binya village. The taxi drove to the entrance of the courtyard and stopped. Lu Lipol threw down $100 bill and got out of the car. The driver waited for a while and confirmed that this guy really didn't want to look for him anymore. Everyone had already entered the courtyard. The driver said just started the car. Lu Li went upstairs and walked into the room. Wen Wen and Qian screamed when they saw him. Rare visitors, Wen Wen shouted. "Why, no girls today?" Qian asked. Lu Ligan ignored them. He went straight to the inner room, fell on the bed and fell asleep. Wen Wen and Qian wanted to lift him to the ground, but this guy seemed to be dead after drinking too much. They had no choice but to go out and huddle on the sofa. After a while, Wen Wen felt that she couldn't bear it, so she walked in and stood by the bed to look at it, and called, "Qian, come here and help." The two of them stripped off Lu Ligan's clothes, got hot water, and wiped him with a hot towel. Wen Wen asked if he felt better. Lu Ligan muttered something. Wen Wen asked again, "Do you want some tea?" Lu Ligan was already snoring, but he was still smelling of alcohol. Wen Wen sighed, covered Lu Ligan with a towel, said let's go, and the two of them walked out. In the middle of the night, Wen Wen came in to take a look. Lu Ligan remained the same as when they left. Wen Wen frowned, climbed into bed, lay down next to him, and patted him gently. In the dream, Lu Ligan had a splitting headache. He vaguely knew that it was because he had drunk too much wine, and he vaguely felt that not only was his head ache, but his heart was aching as well. He dreamed that he was in a movie theater. He knew clearly that this was the Yongcheng Cinema Theater that he often went to when he was a child. The movie theater was full of people. He was sitting on the stage with his back against the screen. The beam of light shone dimly from the distance. The holes shot out, dazzling his eyes. He looked at the shadowy people in the audience, all of them seemed to be familiar, but he couldn't tell who they were. They were all watching the movie attentively. Lu Ligan said, "What's so interesting about the movie? Look at me." His upper body was in the projection of the projector, but those people in the audience still didn't seem to see him. He wanted to stand, he stood up, blocking the entire screen, and couldn't stand up. He kept talking, hoarse, trying to cover up the sound of the movie, but he could never do it. No one listened to what he said, and no one looked at him. Their eyes seemed to penetrate him, but they still looked at him intently. "The screen behind you." Lu Ligan made various movements with his hands, trying to attract their attention. When he covered his head with his hands and was in great pain, the people below laughed collectively. Lu Ligan looked at them, but still no one looked at them. He, Lu Ligan, finally gave up his voice and muttered to himself. Finally, he closed his mouth and sat blankly. The beam of light emitted from the dark hole in the distance sometimes changed into a hawk-like gaze. One moment it was Huang Hongguang, another moment it was the old lady, and the next moment it changed back to the beam of light from the projector. The location seemed to be no longer at Yongcheng Cinema, but at the open-air cinema in Binya Village. 3 rays of light were intertwined. When Lu Ligan wanted to say something, the people below shouted together. "Are you pouring ding?" The overwhelming sound came over, and Lu Ligan finally lowered his head. The movie ended, with the word "end" waving on his face, and the scene jumped to Yongcheng Cinema. There were high steps at the door, and the wooden doors were rust red, like a fire brigade. On the door the paint has peeled off. It was a cold autumn day, it was raining outside, and there was a muddy street below the steps. Lu Lipol stood on the steps, and those who walked down the steps held umbrellas. Lu Ligan was looking for Zheng Wei in the crowd. When he looked to the left, he spotted her on the right out of the corner of his eye. He turned his head, and the familiar face disappeared in an instant, and he held up a black umbrella. Lu Ligan wanted to walk over, but out of the corner of his eye he saw Zheng Wei on the left. He quickly turned his head to the left, and a black umbrella opened with a pop on the left, and Zheng Wei disappeared. He just stood there looking left and right, at a loss. Zheng Wei's face was like a bright firework, flashing for a moment and then disappearing under the black umbrella in the blink of an eye. He wanted to shout, "Zheng Wei, where are you?" But something blocked my throat and I couldn't make a sound. The crowd had dispersed, and there was a lonely street under the steps, with continuous rain and dim street lights. He saw a person walking alone, tightly wrapped in a black windbreaker. Yes, that was Zheng Wei. Lu the Pole quickly ran down the steps. He saw that although the rain was falling one after another and the street lights were dim, the rain did not wet Zheng Wei's body and hair at all. Zheng Wei walked under the dim street lights as if she was in daytime. He saw her fair and slender hair. Neck, turned slightly to the side gracefully. Lu Ligan saw that he had caught up and patted Zheng Wei on the shoulder. Zheng Wei turned around, but Lu Ligan woke up suddenly. What he saw was the old lady's face and her eyes like a falcon. Lu Ligan opened his eyes, and everything was dark. Lu Ligan then laughed softly. It turned out to be a nightmare. Zheng Wei was still lying next to him, with one hand still pressing on his chest. Lu Ligan Rod reached out and hugged her. "Are you awake?" a voice asked softly. Lu Ligan shouted and sat up. The lights in the room turned on. Only then did Lu Ligan see clearly that the person lying next to him was not Zheng Wei, but Wen Wen. Lu Ligan thought he was still in a dream, and quickly looked around, thinking that it would be bad if Zheng Wei saw him hugging Wen Wen. A person came from outside, and it was not Zheng Wei, but Qian Qian. Qian Qian cursed, "What the hell is your name? You're so scared in the middle of the night." Lu Ligan looked at Wen Wen and asked stupidly, "Why are you here?" Wen Wen scolded, "You're as humming drunk as a pig. We kindly wiped it off for you, and I even slept with you. Damn it, why do you think I'm here?" Lu Ligan realized that he was at home and immediately changed his mind. "Why am I back? How do I know how you came back? Get out of here. Get off our bed." Wen Wen was so angry that she kicked Lu Lipol with her feet, and Qian Qian came over to pull him. Lu Li rolled out of bed and realized that he was naked. He stood up and wanted to get the towel and quilt on the bed. Wen Wen kicked him in the forehead and Qian Qian shouted, "Get out of here, you ugly thing, no one has seen it before, so why should you block it?" Lu Ligan fled to the sofa outside. Inside, Qian Qian had fallen on the bed and turned off the lights in the room. Wu Zhaowei determined that Lu Ligan should still be at Yedao Hotel, but he still drove to Binya Village. Wei Venfang told him that it was your duty to go, and if you didn't go, it was a mistake in your work. Wu Zhaowei felt that Wei Venfang was right, and whatever Wei Venfang said seemed to make sense. Wu Zhaowei stopped the car in front of Yilin's house without turning off the engine. He decided to honk the horn 3 times and wait for 5 minutes. If Lu Ligan did not show up, then this guy would be like before. When he arrived at the company, he would pretend sitting there. I told him that I got up early, so I didn't wait for you and came over in a caravan. You get up so early, no one knows you are coming from the other side. Wu Zai looked in the rearview mirror, shaving with a Philips electric shaver, and honked the horn casually. Unexpectedly, Lu Ligan immediately appeared in the corridor upstairs, dressed neatly, as if he was already waiting for him. Wu Zai was halfway through shaving when Lu Ligan got into the car. Wu Zai quickly put down the razor and sent the plague god to his work first. He would then shave the remaining half of his beard downstairs in the Longja building to save the plague god from nagging him again. Nagging. Lu Ligan was sitting in the passenger seat. His eyes were still red and swollen. He rubbed his eyes with his hands, and then kept rubbing his forehead. Wen kicked him there, and it still hurts. Why, didn't you sleep well? Wu Zai asked, laughing to himself. You are so damn busy, fighting 3 women in one night, how could your eyes not be red? It hit me. Lu Lizan answered the question inappropriately, and then cursed, you humming care so much. Wu Zai chuckled. Why are you laughing? Lu Li asked curiously. You humming care. Wu Zai replied, making Lu Ligan laugh, and Lu Ligan shouted, okay, you are so humming awesome, now you dare to talk back to the boss. So what? Are you going to deduct my salary again? You've told me 10,000 times to deduct my salary, but why haven't you deducted a dime? Damn it, you still take politeness as a blessing. Wu Zai smiled and said, I'm reminding you, if you want to scare me, just change your tactics. Okay, then I will demote Wei Venfang and tell her that when you are no longer with Wu Zai, I will reinstate you. This works, you can scare me with this. Wu Zai chuckled, should we try it again? Get the hum out of here. After doing this, Lu Ligan felt that he was no longer so depressed. Maybe things were not that bad. Is there any reason to think that things were not that bad? His mother and husband both came to the door. What else do you want? Lu Ligan thought that the worst was so what, the big deal, he thought of going to Wuzishan to raise pigs with Zheng Wei again. When the car arrived at the parking lot of Longja building, Lu Ligan was about to get off. When he saw Wu Zai sitting still, he asked, aren't you going to get off? Wu Zai pointed to his chin and said to Lu Ligan, you ran so fast, and I still haven't shaved half of my beard. Lu Ligan got out of the car with a big smile. Lu Ligan walked to the door of the company. When he saw him at the front desk, he nodded with a smile and said hello Mr. Lu. Lu Ligan walked in and saw that nothing was going on inside as usual. He turned around and saw that except for the lights in Zheng Wei's office, everything else was normal. Not what he expected, the old lady stood at the door of the company waiting for him, looking at him like a falcon. Lu Ligan even thought about whether there would be someone around her who would tell him when she saw him coming. You come with us. Just like that day, the man in J-suit came in from outside, walked into the conference room, and told Fang Jie, you come with me, and Fang Jie followed him obediently. No, everything was normal. Lu Ligan couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Thank you Qian Dad, Brokeback Mountain, May, Cheng Shanming, Bronze, 1890-798-3117 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 588. Lu Ligan sat blankly in the office until almost 10 o'clock. He stood up and walked to the door, looking towards Zheng Wei's office. Zheng Wei still hadn't come. Lu Ligan couldn't help but become anxious. He even wondered whether he should go to Yedeo Hotel. If anything happened, he should be responsible for it himself instead of letting Zheng Wei face it alone. When he walked into the hall outside, Lu Ligan stopped again. He thought, those two people, one is Zheng Wei's mother and the other is her husband, what can they do to her? I'm afraid if you go, it will only cause trouble. What can you do, have a big fight with them, or fight with the guy in the suit? If you want to hit someone, they are hitting you. What right do you have to hit them? Just like when Ji Unqiang hit himself, he only had the right to be beaten and had no reason to fight back. Lu Ligan thought like this and returned to the office. He walked to the window and looked at Lonkin North Road downstairs. The cars were coming and going. Then he looked at the Coconut Island Hotel diagonally opposite. The door was covered by coconut trees at the door. It's blocked, so you can't see people coming or going from there. Lu Lizan looked and thought about it, and he felt a little ashamed. He felt that he had no past, and was actually not that high-sounding. He was just a little scared, but he just didn't dare. He didn't dare to face the old lady, didn't dare to face her hawk-like cold gaze. The old lady stood there with a calm expression on her face, which made Lu Ligan unable to help but retreat. Just like Zheng Weijin decides something and Lu Ligan doesn't dare to disobey it once he says it. He feels that her mother is 10 times more powerful than her daughter. Looking at you without saying a word makes you dare not make a mistake, just like when primary school students see the principal, they will subconsciously stand up and behave themselves. The reason for this power is very complicated. She seems to have a condescending aura naturally, and she also comes from a mysterious background that does not allow you to challenge. No matter how hard you, Lu Lipol, you can, there are some things that you cannot overcome. Past. This kind of power even comes from the legend and tradition that among thousands of troops, just lying there lazily and saying what are you panicking about can stabilize the morale of the army. Lu Ligan was startled by the sound of tuk-tuk coming from behind. Lu Ligan turned around and saw Chen Ji standing at the door, knocking on the open glass door. What's the matter? Lu Ligan asked. Chen Ji panicked for a moment, and then said, Mr. Zheng has returned to Beijing. She asked me to tell you. Oh, when did she tell you? Just now, she just called me. Where was the fight taken? Airport. Zheng Wei did not call Lu Ligan directly, but told him to tell Lu Ligan that she was leaving. Chen Ji guessed that they must have gotten into trouble. Chen Ji thought that just like in movies and TV, when Lu Ligan heard this, he would run out immediately. He was going to the airport to intercept Zheng Wei. Just like in movies and TV, Zheng Wei was about to go through the security check and turned around. And saw Lu Ligan running towards him, and then they looked at each other and smiled, all misunderstandings disappeared, and Zheng Wei stopped leaving. But Lu Ligan said nothing and stood there quietly. Chen Ji was a little anxious and added, Mr. Zheng said that there are urgent matters in Beijing that need her to deal with. He also said that she might not come back. Mr. Lu. Lu Ligan nodded and said okay, I understand, and I will contact her again when she lands. Chen Ji was confused. She thought that she had misunderstood the relationship between him and Mr. Zheng. Everyone in the company had made a mistake. The fact that they could still contact each other after landing meant that they were not at odds with each other. You go ahead, Lu Ligan said. Chen Ji nodded and left. After walking a dozen meters and looking back, Lu Ligan didn't seem to have any intention of going out. Instead, he sat down at his desk. Lu Ligan sat there, feeling his hands and feet were cold. He knew that this time Zheng Wei left, even if he really left, he would not come back to the airport, and then come back unexpectedly. Even if she wanted to come back, she couldn't get over her mother. Knowing that the call was impossible to get through, Lu Ligan still called Zheng Wei's big brother, but the call couldn't be reached. Zheng Wei left, and this time Lu Ligan was expected to disappear completely. Now he recalled his dream yesterday. He thought of the helplessness he felt when he was leaning against the screen, chattering endlessly, standing on the steps, looking down. The darkness of the umbrellas, The feeling of isolation and helplessness when they faded into the night before my eyes. Zheng Wei left, and he would not come back this time. Really not. Lu Ligan felt that his eyes were red and his forehead began to hurt again. He quickly stood up, walked over and closed the door, closing the blinds on the side facing the hall. He returned to his desk, sat down, and called the front desk. I called the front desk and told the front desk that if someone came to see me, they would tell me that I was dealing with important matters and would not see any visitors. Okay, Mr. Lu. Lu Ligan rubbed his cheeks with his hands, leaned his head on the executive chair, and closed his eyes. The phone on the table rang suddenly. Lu Ligan reached out and unplugged the phone line. Then his big brother rang. Lu Ligan pressed the answer button. It was Sun Ho. Why the hell did you unplug the phone line and weren't going to answer the phone? Sun Ho scolded. You kid, do you think you can just hide away? Lu Ligan muttered, What are you? Have you met the old lady? Just met once. Then how many more times do you want to meet? Do you want someone to sit down and have a good talk with you? If the old lady wants to sit down, it will be a big problem for you. The two of them were silent on the phone. After a while, Sun Ho sighed and said, Zhangzi, just be happy. Fortunately, I don't want to make the matter a big deal. Alas, it won't look good if it makes a big deal. Monkey, Zheng Wei. I'm back in Beijing. Just think that this person has disappeared from now on. Damn it, I felt something was wrong last time I went to Hiken. I can't say anything about it. I didn't expect that you kid would really stab me like this. It's a big basket, but fortunately, everyone knows this kind of thing, and it can't be slapped, otherwise Governor Zhu and I will be in bad luck. Although he knew that Sun Ho didn't want to mention Zheng Wei again, Lu Ligan still asked, Ho, Zheng Wei, will nothing happen to her? I told you to leave her alone and forget about her. Just pretend this never happened. Do you understand? Sun Ho said impatiently, the person who will replace her will arrive tomorrow. You know her? Who? Huang Jianren. You can't send anyone except these young masters? I don't want to look for him everywhere anymore. Lu Ligan was also a little angry. Damn it, Zhangzi, do you want to scold me for being a young master too? I won't let you find anyone this time. We are going together. By the way, there is another person. You can arrange it, that's it? Sun Ho was about to hang up the phone. After thinking about it, he felt that he should remind Lu Ligan. Sun Ho slowed down and said, Gangzi, did you and Zheng Wei offend anyone in Hiken? Offended someone? I don't even know who I offended. Then do you know why the old lady went to Hiken? How could I, a commoner, know about the affairs of the princes, generals, and prime ministers' families? Don't be poor, someone has followed you and Zheng Wei and taken a lot of unsightly photos. These people are very powerful. They can find out things that others can't find out. They can find out all the details about Zheng Wei. It is clear that they not only anonymously sent the photos to Zheng Wei's home, but also sent them to her husband. Lu Ligan understood. He knew without checking that this must have been done by Fang Jie and his group. Zheng Wei had ruined their good deeds, so they wanted to poke Zheng Wei's bad luck. It seemed that they were just targeting him this time. Zheng Wei is here. I know who they are, it's related to what happened in that building last time, Lu Ligan and Sun Ho said. Well, it's pretty much what we guessed. We've already warned them. They shouldn't make any more moves. But you'd better be careful about the pole. Lu Ligan smiled and said, what am I afraid of? Oh, no, monkey, did you already know that the old lady was coming to Hiken? Yes, I know. Sun Ho didn't hide anything and admitted it immediately. Just when Lu Ligan was about to say something, Sun Ho said again, don't blame me for not warning you in advance, I didn't dare. After saying that, Sun Ho added, no one dares. After Sun Ho finished speaking, He hung up the phone. The next day, Huang Jianren arrived in Haikan. It turned out that his wife came with him. Lu Ligan wanted to arrange her to work under Wei Wenfang. Wei Wenfang immediately came over and said to Lu Ligan, "Mr. Lu, please put her under the supervision of Wei Wenfang. What should I do if such a big bodhisattva is left here? Either you remove me as the manager or director and let her do it. What nonsense are you talking about? She's here to work, not to be a wife. Your sales department only has one brand left. If you don't mind, put her in your office and manage her as you want. What are you afraid of?" Don't dare, Wei Wenfang shouted, "My parents are workers in the coal cake factory." "What are their parents? Do I dare to offend them? Mr. Lu, please do your best." Lu Ligan vaguely remembered that Wu Kai had said it to him before, and Wei Wenfang had said it to Wei Wenfang, and Huang Jianren had told Wei Wenfang to her. He vaguely remembered that Huang Jianren's wife belonged to the old chief of Huang Jianren's father. Who? When Huang Jianren's father was looking for someone, he could make the chickens and dogs restless. Who the hell could his father's old chief be? Lu Ligan felt weak when he saw Wei Wenfang looking at him pitifully, and sighed to himself, "You can be scared off by an old lady, let alone a little girl like Wei Wenfang. None of these young men and princesses are easy to take care of." Lu Ligan said, "Okay, I'll make other arrangements for this person, so don't come here to play the tragedy card." Wei Wenfang laughed and cupped her hands towards Lu Ligan. "Thank you, Mr. Lu, for not killing me." "Do you still want to pledge yourself to me?" Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Bah, gangster." Wei Wenfang's face turned red and she cursed, making Lu Ligan laugh. Lu Ligan decided that the company would set up a new public relations department, which would be responsible for dealing with the media and all aspects of society. Nainanan would be the manager. Didn't she graduate from the journalism department of the National People's Congress? It was just right for her to do this. Lu Ligan thought for a while and then dialed Meng Ping's phone. He thought he needed to tell Meng Ping that Huang Jianren was back and ask him to remind the stupid Su Jiaking. "Who is he going to challenge?" Meng Ping asked. "Zheng Wei." "I'm going." "You mean, the political commissar is gone?" "Yes, let's go." "Not coming back." "Not coming back." Meng Ping's next words shocked Lu Lili. Meng Ping said, "So, you are like me and have become a lonely old man again. Holy shit. So you all humming know it?" Lu Ligan saw Zheng Wei again more than 20 years later. That day, he was watching TV. He saw someone who looked very familiar among the people picking him up at the airport, but he couldn't remember who it was. Among the Chinese escorts, he saw Zheng Wei at a glance. Zheng Wei had already put on some weight. He thought again that the familiar person in front of him was the person standing next to the old lady at Yedeo Hotel that year. His hair was still intact, but a little gray. After all, he and Zheng Wei, all over 50. Lu Ligan burst into tears instantly. He felt that his crying had been buried for more than 20 years. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 589. Xiao Zhao stayed in the hospital for 3 days and was about to be discharged. Zhang Chen's mother made sure that Xiao Zhao went back to Yongcheng for confinement. She said that there was no place for confinement here, and the accommodation and food were not good. It's so good to go home. During this confinement, both adults and children have taken good care of their bodies, so they are not afraid. Zhang Chen's father has long wanted to return to Yongcheng, and of course he is supporting him strongly. Zhang Chen also felt that it might be the best choice for Xiao Zhao to return to Yongcheng for confinement. In Hangcheng, it would be very inconvenient for his parents to go to Sanbeo or continue to live in the hunky hotel. They can't find another place, for example, a house in the city. First, it is difficult to find one in a short time. There are not enough houses for everyone. Who has extra houses to rent out, or a whole house? Second, it was too far away from the factory, so Jiang Chen felt uneasy and inconvenient. What's more, they had developed a relationship in the landlord's house. If they had to move out all at once, neither Jiang Chen nor Xiao Zhao would be willing to leave. Chu Tianlin also supported their return to Yongcheng. Chu Tianlin and Xiao Zhao said that it was confinement anyway, and you were on the bed. The bed in Hangcheng was still the bed in Yongcheng, which was different. It would be more comfortable to live in Yongcheng. Although Xiao Zhao was reluctant to give up, he had to agree. Xiao Zhao was still reluctant to leave Jiang Chen. She told Jiang Chen, "Are you so cruel to leave us orphans and widowed mothers alone?" Jiang Chen laughed and said, "What are you talking about? It was my house that sent you, and you still lived in my room. What do you mean by leaving me alone? I can still go back every week. If you don't let me go back, I won't do it. Also, don't worry, I will tell my mother and promise not to let you eat steamed crucian carp and sweet pig's feet without salt again." Chu Tianlin was laughing and scolding Xiao Zhao. He was a bit promising and already a mother, but he still couldn't bear to leave his husband. "Let me tell you, you will know in 2 days. If you have a son, what will your husband do in your mind? The seats were moved to the back, so my son must be first." Xiao Zhao looked at Jiang Chen, frowned and said, "Dear, what should I do? Are you going to fall out of favor?" Jiang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, I will always be the last one at home." When He Hongmei heard that Xiao Zhao was going back to Yongcheng, she offered to drive them back. Jiang Chen calculated that there were 5 adults, a child, and a lot of things that He Hongmei and Xiaoli might not be able to fit in. He called Wang Haniao and asked him to help deliver it. Wang Haniao agreed immediately. The next morning, he drove his newly purchased Ivco to the hospital. Chu Tianlin, Xiaoan and He Hongmei put them in the car. Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan said that now that Xiao Zhang is not here, you should continue to help at their stall. Xiaoan agreed. He Hongmei drove Chu Tianlin to Hangcheng building first, and then they went to Sijiking. Wang Haniao drove out from the second Zhejiang hospital. Jiang Chen asked him to go to the supply and marketing building next to it. Jiang Chen went in and bought a lot of milk powder, diapers, biscuits, dried fruits and other things, and returned to the car with 2 salesmen. Followed them and helped them carry the crib and stroller, which Wang Haniao must buy for Jiang Chen. When Jiang Chen's mother saw Jiang Chen and Wang Haniao carrying so many diapers in the car, she scolded Jiang Chen, "Why did you buy this? I have all the diapers at home. I can't do anything about this in the hospital. Use it. When you get home, don't use this anywhere. Don't talk about such a small child. Wrap your butt in paper. You will feel uncomfortable and your butt will rot." Jiang Chen, Xiao Zhao and Wang Haniao laughed wildly. Jiang Chen said, "Okay, you have bought everything and you can't return it. If you don't use it, just use the coal cake stove." Jiang Chen's mother said angrily, "I even thought the coal cake stove couldn't be lit." Jiang Chen was worried about his mother, and then said that the crib and stroller were useless. This was a gift from Wang Haniao. It would be embarrassing if the mother was talking nonsense. Jiang Chen quickly said to Xiao Zhao. This crib and stroller were given to Zhang Xiangbei by boss Wang. After hearing this, Xiao Zhao quickly shouted to the front, "Thank you, brother Wang." While driving, Wang Haniao raised his hand and shouted, "That's right." Only then did Jiang Chen's mother swallow the words that were on her lips. Jiang Chen looked at them and smiled secretly. Arriving in Yongcheng at noon, the car drove to the gate of the courtyard and saw Xiao Wu and Xiao Jin already waiting here. The 2 of them helped carry everything upstairs. Xiao Wu knew that Zhang Chen and the others would arrive home at this time and would definitely not have time to cook. The group of people moved things home and put them away. Wang Haniao and Xiao Jin packed up the crib and stroller, and Xiao Zhao put Zhang Xiangbei away. Entering the crib, the guy was sleeping soundly. Someone knocked on the door, and Zhang Chen went over to open the door. It was the waiter and the proprietress of the restaurant, who brought Xiao Wu's order. The proprietress was holding a can of local chicken stew in her hand. Zhang Chen's mother asked everyone to sit down to eat. When Xiao Zhao saw the spicy fish pieces, his eyes lit up. He quickly stretched out his chopsticks and stopped halfway. He looked at Zhang Chen's mother. Zhang Chen's mother smiled and said, "Eat, eat, I know you can't hold it anymore. Anyway, Xiangbei is also from Yongcheng. He grew up in Yongcheng and is also a spicy food. Even if the milk is a bit spicy, he still needs to exercise." Everyone at the table laughed. Zhang Chen said, "It's okay. He has already gotten used to it. He is from Yongcheng and Sichuan. Our blood is spicy, so he won't be afraid." Wang Haniao was afraid. He couldn't eat spicy food at all. He could only eat braised beef, sweet and sour pork loin and fried vegetables. The fried vegetables also made him hiss. He said, "I'm just afraid of this place in Yongcheng. Come, go to the restaurant to eat, even the pot is spicy." As he spoke, he continued to hiss, and the others looked at him and laughed. Zhang Chen's mother quickly fished out a chicken leg and gave it to him, telling him that it wasn't spicy. Wang Haniao couldn't refuse and could only accept it. After eating, Wang Haniao was about to leave. Xiao Zhao asked Zhang Chen to drive with Wang Haniao and told him that the factory and store were so busy and neither of us were here, so why not go back? Zhang Chen's parents also said that the two elders of us are not good enough to take care of a young child, so you can go and do your work. Zhang Chen still insisted on staying at home for one night before leaving. He asked Wang Haniao to return to Hangzhou first. Zhang Chen took Xiao Wu and Xiao Jin out. Zhang Chen rode his father's bicycle, and Xiao Wu rode his bicycle with Xiao Jin. Zhang Chen first went to the Post and Telecommunications office, paid an initial installation fee of 4,500 yuan, and applied for the installation of a telephone. This way, if anything happened, Xiao Zhao could contact him at home, and he himself could call him every day. No need to run downstairs to the reception room. Zhang Chen came out after completing the formalities. Xiao Wu and Xiao Jin were smoking cigarettes and waiting for him at the door. Xiao Wu asked Zhang Chen, where to go next. "I want to buy a larger TV set and a radio cassette player when I go to the Wujiaohua store," Zhang Chen said. The three of them got in the car and continued walking. Xiao Wu thought to himself that if he wanted to buy a big TV, he couldn't put the bicycle back on it. He saw a tricycle parked in front of a shop on the roadside, so he said to Xiao Jin, "Go and borrow this tricycle use." The tricycle was unlocked, so Xiao Jin walked over and got on the tricycle and left. People in the store ran out screaming, and when they saw Xiao Wu, he stopped. Xiao Wu said to him, "Go and use it for a while, and I will return it to you later." The man quickly said okay. Zhang Chen was curious and asked Xiao Wu, "Do you know him?" Xiao Wu shook his head, "I don't know." Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh and said, "Damn it, you commandeered someone's car without knowing him." Xiao Wu also laughed, "Just use it, what does he have to be afraid of? I will destroy his broken tricycle." Zhang Chen thought to himself, this is true. They arrived at the Wujiaohua store. Zhang Chenhua bought the largest and only 29-inch Sony color TV in the store for more than 11,000 yuan, and also bought a Yanwu dual-card cassette player. Yanwu, Yanwu, the advertising song "One Song Brings Love" has been with them for many years. Don't be too familiar with this brand. Zhang Chen continued to ride forward and rode to the Cultural Service Department run by the County Cultural Center. He picked out and bought only 2 song tapes, but he also bought all other music tapes, including the most popular music tapes at the time. Piano piece Destiny by Chad Clayderman. Zhang Chen didn't know much about music. He only remembered reading in the newspaper that listening to more music was good for children's intellectual development, so he bought it. In the Cultural Services Department, there is also a counter with some classical music on display. Although Zhang Chen does not understand music, he knows names such as Beethoven, Chopin, Liszt, etc. He understands that these are good things. But these tapes are not for sale. They only provide transcription services. The transcription fee for transcribing a tape is 3 yuan, not counting the cost of the tape. Zhang Chen pointed to the boxes of blank TDK tapes next to him and told the store clerk, "Just use the tapes you have here. You can help me record them all." So many records, the clerk was surprised. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, please calculate how much." The clerk quickly calculated. A blank 60-minute TDK tape cost 5 yuan, plus the transcription fee of 3 yuan, for a total of 8 yuan. The total cost was 328 yuan, which was almost his 2-month salary. He couldn't help but shook his head slightly. The clerk took the money and called a girl at the counter over there, "Di, hurry up and go upstairs and take down your tape recorder and use it." The girl curled her lips and said, "I want to use it again, but it's all in vain. My father told me about it." But she stood up and walked out. Zhang Chen asked the clerk, "When can I pick it up? 2 cassette recorders are recording together. I'll work overtime tonight to help you get it done. It won't be until tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. You can pick it up around 3 o'clock. Zhang Chen thought, 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I also want to go back to Hangzhou tomorrow morning. Xiao Wu said, "I'll take it and give it to my sister-in-law." The clerk quickly said, "Okay, brother Xiao Wu is here to pick up the same one." Zhang Chen turned around and was about to leave, but the clerk suddenly asked, "Are you Zhang Chen from the Wu opera troupe? Are you famous now?" Zhang Chen smiled and didn't say yes or no. He didn't know this guy, but this guy knew him. It wasn't surprising. Aren't we all in the same system? The 3 people carried the things upstairs, and Xiao went in to return the tricycle. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu unpacked the TV, took it out and installed it. Such a big TV shocked Zhang Chen's parents. Zhang Chen's mother asked, "This TV is as big as a movie theater, how much does it cost?" Zhang Chen was afraid that she would be verbose, so he said, "It's not much money, more than 4,000. Isn't it expensive, more than 4,000? This is your father and I's salary for a year," Zhang Chen's mother shouted. Zhang Chen thought to himself, "I haven't told you more than 10,000 yuan yet. If I want to tell you, do you have to force me to return it?" Zhang Chen's father was very happy. He chuckled, "With such a big TV, when you watch potato planting, can you even see the earthworms in the field?" Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh and said, "Then there must be earthworms in the field first." How come there are no earthworms in the potato field?" Zhang Chen's father rolled his eyes at him. Zhang Chen smiled and did not answer. Zhang Chen also paused in his heart. He wondered if it was because of Zhang Xiangbei. After he became a father, he felt that the attitudes of himself and his parents had changed for the better. Xiao Zhao asked Zhang Chen, "Did you apply by phone?" Zhang Chen told her that she had applied, but she would have to wait until half a month before it was her turn to install it, or else I would leave her here when I left. Anyway, there are telephones in my store and factory. Xiao Zhao shook her head and said she didn't want it anymore. If the customer calls to place an order, I don't know what else is available in the factory, so I have to call you first. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. This was actually a problem. The people who hit his brother the most every day were customers who wanted to place orders. Xiao Wu stood up and said, "I'm going out for a while. After Xiao Wu finished speaking, he walked out. After more than 10 minutes, he came back. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up. He saw two people in dark green work clothes behind Xiao Wu. They looked like they were from the Post and Telecommunications Bureau. One of them, when I came in, I asked Zhang Chen where the phone was going to be installed. Zhang Chen was happy when he heard this. He was really ignorant and could not see Taishan. How could he forget Xiao Wu, the king of Yongcheng? In Yongcheng, all the roads that were impassable on the surface were smooth behind the scenes. Thank you, Leo, for your monthly ticket and have a safe journey. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 590. Zhang Chen's eldest brother rang loudly. Zhang Chen picked up the answer. It was the landlord's eldest brother. The landlord asked where Zhang Chen was and why he hadn't seen you back in the past 2 days. Zhang Chen told him that I was in Yongcheng now. Xiao Zhao was discharged from the hospital. I would send her back to her home in Yongcheng for confinement, where my parents could take care of them. The landlord said, no wonder. Then when will you come back? Zhang Chen said, tomorrow morning. What can I do, brother? I am now in our brigade headquarters. The secretary and director of our brigade said that they will treat you to dinner when you come back. Zhang Chen quickly smiled and said, don't take it seriously, I will invite them when they come back. During this period, I have been running around the hospital, factory, and store, and I don't have time. Brother, please make an appointment for me. I will come back tomorrow. I will invite them, they eat. The landlord covered the phone receiver with his hand and asked the director of the village committee. The director told him. He picked up the phone and said to Zhang Chen. Then let's have dinner together tomorrow night. Our director has said that they should pay for the meal. They need your help if they have something to do. You want me to help you? What's the matter? When you come back and let them tell you for themselves. I can't tell you why they are so experienced in carrying out such things. That's all. Zhang Chen said, okay, goodbye brother. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen felt that the call was a little strange. He told Xiao Zhao about the content of the call. Xiao Zhao also felt strange. The two of them thought about it for a long time, but they couldn't figure it out. The village secretary and director asked Zhang Chen, something will happen, and she said she wanted his help. Is that house no longer available for rent to us? Xiao Zhao asked. This was what they were most worried about. Zhang Chen shook his head. He said it didn't seem like it. We paid the rent for that house for a year, and it had only been a few months. How could we take it back? Even the demolition is not so fast. It has only been a few days. When we were in Hangzhou, we did not hear of such a demolition. According to the agreement, unless the government demolition is force majeure, they have the right to take it back. Otherwise, they have no choice. Taken back. Xiao Zhao nodded. She felt that what Zhang Chen said made sense. Ignore him, they are going to treat me to dinner. It shouldn't be a bad thing. If it is a bad thing, how can I still eat this meal? Zhang Chen said with a smile. You're right, Xiao Zhao nodded and said, if it was really something bad, my eldest brother wouldn't be happy to make this call. However, we still need to pay for this meal. Zhang Chen said he knew, I'm not stupid, how could I let them pay the bill? Zhang Chen returned to Hangzhou and went to the stall first. Xiao An and Xiao Li were dealing with two customers respectively. Seeing him come in, Xiao Li smiled and nodded, while Xiao An Li ignored him. Zhang Chen sat down at the table, and Xiao An threw the key to the drawer at him. He opened the drawer and took out his accounting book to see that the sales during his absence in the past 2 days were pretty good, far exceeding his expectations. The two customers paid and left one after another. Zhang Chen and Xiao An said, not bad, you look like a veteran now. TCH, You think I'm an idiot and can't learn this? Xiaoan rolled her eyes at him. Zhang Chen quickly smiled and said, don't dare, if you are heirs, there will be no one in this world who is not heirs. By the way, I don't have time tonight, tomorrow I will treat you to dinner and reward you. TCH, you're back. I'm going back to Hangcheng building tomorrow, Xiaoan said. Then let's go to Hangcheng building to eat, and ask Sister Tianlin to come with us, Zhang Chen said. Okay, let's go to Hangcheng building, Xiaoli shouted happily. Xiaoan looked at Zhang Chen and asked, do you feel free now that Xiao Zhao is away? It's really not true. It's because you have worked hard during this period, Zhang Chen said. This is what Xiao Zhao asked me to reward you. If you don't believe me, call Xiao Zhao and ask. TCH, I just said you're not that good. It turned out to be Xiao Zhao's order, Xiaoan said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, that's right, she orders, I execute it, and you guys implement it, okay. Okay, it's free if you don't eat, Xiaoan said with a smile. Zhang Chen stood up and was about to leave. Xiao Li asked, boss, where are you going? I'll go to the factory and have a look. Wait a minute, there is a customer from Yinchuan. He wants to visit the factory. Please wait for him. Zhang Chen said yes. I'm at Ayang's place. You call me when he comes. Zhang Chen stood up and walked to Ayang. Zhang Chen himself felt funny. Why was he a little afraid of Xiaoan when he was with her now? He didn't know what she would say if she was cold or not. Choking you to the point of being confused. Zhang Chen walked to Ayang's stall. When Ayang saw him come in, he shook his head and sighed, and told him that this broken market seems to have more people doing it, and the shops in the main aisle have also installed light boxes. Yes, they follow your example and also purchase fabrics and make goods themselves. The business is not as good as yours, but it is not bad. Why, do you still want this market to remain lifeless? Zhang Chen asked with a smile. Ayang shook his head. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I don't know what to do. If this stall is transferred like the Wenzhou guy opposite, I can make tens of thousands of yuan. But if this stall is gone, I have nothing to do. Ayang frowned and continued to shake his head and sigh. You can do this too, you're not stupider than others, Zhang Chen said. Me? I'm sorry. How could I not be as capable as you? I can design by myself. You take a table tennis ball and ask me to draw it? I can't draw a circle either. What can I do? Swish, 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 swish. Click, click, click. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing and cursed, what the hell, there are so many onomatopoeias. Swish, swish, swish is tanning the skin, swish, swish, swish is to use scissors to cut the skin, and swish, swish, swish is to use scissors to cut the skin, and click, swish, swish is to use chop to cut the holes. Zhang Chen was confused and asked, what is beheading? The tools used to make leather goods are used to punch holes. The head is like a comb. You have to use a chopper to cut holes in the leather first, and then you can sew and needle through them. Zhang Chen seemed to understand a little, and he asked Ayang, what did you originally do? Be a cobbler. My grandfather and father used to be cobblers. However, let's just say it nicely. My grandfather is the real cobbler. He makes leather bags, suitcases, boots, and saddles. He makes everything. My dad and I am actually just a shoe repairman. Then what your grandpa would do, would you do it? Of course I do. I've seen it since I was a kid. Okay, not bad, Zhang Chen shouted, then why don't you do this? Ayang glanced at him and said disdainfully, who else would want this now? Leather bags, leather boots, and suitcases. It would be so refreshing to buy them in a department store, or go to the Huanbei small commodity market, which is dirt cheap. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, you are wrong. Those are all mass merchandise. If you make handmade leather goods and personalized products, there will always be a market, and this market will get bigger and bigger. Do you know that those foreign products designer leather bags are all handmade? Real. Of course, if you do this well, Ayang, I tell you, I can't guarantee that many of my customers will definitely get goods from you. Zhang Chen looked around, and Ayang said, by the way, ours is a clothing city, and we didn't say that we are not allowed to sell leather bags and leather goods. If you decorate the stall and specialize in handmade leather goods, I guarantee you will have business. Ayang was convinced by Zhang Chen's vision, and he definitely believed Zhang Chen's statement. Hearing Zhang Chen's words, he became excited and interested. Zhang Chen continued to tell him. Besides, your handmade leather goods are a perfect match for my hemp clothes. If you really make them, we can still cooperate. When Zhang Chen said this, Ayang thought of how many denim clothes Zhang Chen had taken away for him. If he wanted to say it was okay, then it would definitely be possible. Are you saying that there is really a future in doing this now? Ayang asked. I guarantee there is a future. Decorate this place and put in your own leather goods. Give this shop a name. Let me think of what to call it. Fur Hall. Oh, that's good. This is a good name. It's called Paikatang. Ayang, how did you come up with this name? Before liberation, my grandfather's shop in Howler Lane was called this name. That's great. It's still a time-honored brand. By the way, do you still have the things your grandfather made at home? Yes, I still have all the goods from before liberation. My grandfather has always kept them as treasures and said he would take them into the coffin. That's great. Don't put it in the coffin. You can't bury it now, so keep it. This will be the treasure of your store from now on. Ayang also laughed. He asked Zhang Chen to go to his house when he had time and help him take a look. Zhang Chen agreed immediately. He said that we would go see it at noon tomorrow. Ayang agreed. Boss. Xiaoli was calling him, and Zhang Chen hurried back. The customer from Yinchuan had already arrived. Zhang Chen took him to the factory. When he walked to the road, he met He Hongmei. He Hongmei heard that they were going to the factory, so she said, I will go too. This customer arrived at the factory and saw their showroom. He Hongmei appeared nearby and gave her own explanation. Of course, the conversation quickly settled down. After packing the goods, Zhang Chen sent the customer and Lao Wan out to deliver the goods. Looking at the time, it was already past 4 o'clock. Zhao Zhigang came over and said to Zhang Chen, look at the fabric, it may be necessary to replenish the goods. Zhang Chen went. I took a look at the warehouse and calculated that based on their current daily output, the fabrics in the warehouse can probably be used for 8 or 9 days. Zhang Chen had never made clothing before and had no experience at all. He asked He Hongmei, how long does it take for your winter clothing to arrive? He Hongmei told him that for retail stores, there will be a small climax before the Spring Festival. After the Spring Festival, everyone starts selling at discounts, so the retail stores usually continue to purchase goods 10 days before the Spring Festival. For wholesale customers like them, generally, in the first half month of the Spring Festival, winter clothes will no longer be worn. Zhang Chen understood. He calculated an approximate amount and then added a little margin. If these fabrics could not be used up for winter clothes, he should be able to use some more for spring clothes. Zhang Chen told He Hongmei about his plan, and He Hongmei shouted, no, 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 no matter how suitable it is, don't use the same fabrics for your spring clothes as your winter clothes. Why? Zhang Chen was puzzled. These cotton padded clothes are made of thin materials, so they are suitable for spring clothes. Do you know that there will be aesthetic fatigue, brother? Zhang Chen understood, and when he thought about it, it really made sense. He scolded, it's neither big nor small. Yes, master. Okay, you are my master this time. Really, you are right to remind me. This is true knowledge gained through practice, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen recalculated, and He Hongmei told him that it doesn't matter if you count less. Winter clothes are the most afraid of being sold out. They are packed for a year and take up a lot of space. Winter clothes would rather be collected earlier than sold out. What will you sell if it's out of stock? Spring clothing. Before the spring festival, customers like us can buy some of the new spring clothes. You have to know that we are actually the same as you. We are also afraid of buying winter clothes. We also hope to clear out all winter clothes before the spring festival. Part of the spring clothes. So, we need to go to Zhangjiagang in the future? There are a lot of fabrics there, suitable for making spring clothes. That's for sure. Go early this time, go straight to Zhangjiagang, and take a closer look at their warehouse, master. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen followed He Hongmei's suggestion and counted the numbers again, then called Xiao Li and delivered to him all the fabrics he needed for the year at once. After finishing these tasks, he looked at his watch. It was almost 5 o'clock. He said to He Hongmei, I'm going to have dinner with the village chief. You can make your own way for dinner. He Hongmei was burying her head in reading a newly arrived Rulai magazine. She raised her hand and waved to Zhang Chen, shouting, Go, go, I'll hang out with Kaidi. Thank you Li Rujin and Xiao Wang for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone a happy weekend.